On day 1, I dropped into the world as Thor. Whoa, I'm Thor, but why am I a baby? Before I could think about it too much, a portal opened next to me, and I saw my dad Odin standing inside. Dad, what's going on?
Zozo, we don't have much time. Gorr the God Butcher has released his skeleton army on us. They are attacking Asgard, and sending you through this portal was the best I could do to keep you safe. I don't know why you're a baby, but I need you to find your hammer Mjolnir. Find your hammer, and I'll hold him off.
A giant skeleton appeared behind Odin, and they started to fight. Odin is really strong, but the giant skeleton was putting up a strong fight. I couldn't tell who was winning.
Go now, Zozo, and hurry!
The portal suddenly closed, and I was alone. Okay, I can do this. I need to find my hammer and help my dad. And while I do that, I'll need to work on powering up my baby form. I'm sure my hammer can't be too far away, so I'll start by getting some supplies together to help me look. On day 2, I headed down the mountain, but I had no idea where to get started looking for my hammer. As I headed down the mountain though, I saw a boar. Looks like lunch. I'm not going to find my hammer on an empty stomach. I didn't have my hammer, or any other weapons for that matter, but I was the god of thunder. I bet I can take this thing on with my bare hands. I threw some punches and took him out, but not without losing a couple hearts. Okay, maybe I'm being a little cocky. I am a baby after all. I'll go work on getting some tools. I headed over to some nearby trees and started collecting wood. Once I had collected enough wood, I made a crafting table. Then I used the rest of the wood to make a wooden pickaxe. A wooden pickaxe is only good for one thing, and that's getting stone to make a stone pickaxe. So I headed over to the mountain and mined out some stone. Then I ran back to the crafting table and made a stone pickaxe. It's no Mjolnir, but it'll have to do for now. I wanted to collect some more food, so I headed back over to the mountains to kill some more boars. Using my new pickaxe, I was able to take a few of them out, no problem. I was even able to do it without taking any damage. I was going to have a full belly, but I still had several things I needed to accomplish before I could start exploring the mountainside. I needed to be quick though. I didn't know how long my dad could hold off the skeletons, or worse, Gorr the God Butcher, whoever that is. On day 3, I started clearing out an area for me to build my base of operations. I'm sure it will take some time to find Mjolnir, so I need to make sure I have a good base to store all my gear, as well as anything else I find along the way. In addition to the wood I collected, I also made sure I headed back over to the mountain to get some more stone, as I would need it to help build my base and other supplies. It looks like I've got everything I need. Time to start building my base of operations. I started with a strong stone foundation and then used wood to fill out the rest of it. I wasn't going to need anything huge to start with, so this was going to work great. I was inside my base when I suddenly heard a strange noise outside. I walked outside to see what caused it, and Loki appeared out of nowhere.
Hello, brother.
Loki, what are you doing here?
I'm here to rescue you, as always.
I'm pretty sure I've never needed your help rescuing me. I am definitely the one who does all the rescuing.
Oh, so you don't want to know more about your hammer? I guess I won't tell you anything then.
Okay, what do you know?
Well, there's good news and bad news. Asgard is safe, for now.
Oh good, Dad was able to defeat the skeletons.
Not exactly. The skeletons and Gorr are no longer attacking Asgard because they were teleported to this realm. Now they're looking for Mjolnir too, as they believe it will help them portal back to Asgard.
Great, so I don't just have to find my hammer, but I have to find it before a bunch of skeletons and a god butcher? I don't suppose you would like to help. But instead of answering, Loki turned and started to disappear.
You're the god of thunder. I'm sure you'll be great. Bye.
And that is why you can never trust the god of mischief. On days 4 to 5, I decided I couldn't waste any more time, so I started to explore the mountains. I was hoping I would be able to find someone who might have a clue to where my hammer could be. I was walking through the forest when I came across a group of lumberjacks. Greetings, mortals. I have a question for you. The lumberjacks didn't look so good. They were coming at me with an axe. They were zombies. Whoa there, back off. I used my stone axe to take out the first one, who dropped an iron axe. I then used that to take out the rest of them. Well, those guys weren't very helpful, but even lumberjacks had to have lived somewhere. Maybe there's a village nearby. On days 6 to 8, I was running through the woods when I saw a village up ahead. Perfect, someone there might be able to help me. As I reached the outskirts of the village though, I could tell something was off. The village was completely deserted. Not only that, the buildings were run down and covered in cobwebs. What happened here?
Curious, isn't it?
Loki had come out of nowhere. Loki, where did you come from? Why are you being so weird and mysterious?
Well, it's my brand after all. And before you ask, no, I don't know what happened here. I'm actually just as confused as you are about what's been going on.
Well, I'm gonna go take a look. Feel free to come along and help. I headed into the village and saw Loki had disappeared. No surprise there. I checked the first house and started looking in the chests, but they were full of cobwebs. I kept looking and soon came across a chest with some wood planks inside. Well, it's nothing special, but these could come in handy later. I headed into another house and saw something floating above an anvil in the room ahead of me. Could that be my hammer? I ran forward and picked it up. It was just a normal iron hammer. Oh shoot, it's just a regular hammer. But still, it feels better to have this than nothing. I'll keep using this in the meantime. I then made my way to the mead hall and checked the chest next to the throne. Whoa, check it out, it's full of gold. I might be able to craft something useful with this later. I then crawled onto the throne and thought about my dad in Asgard. This will be a good place to rest. Hopefully I can find some more clues tomorrow. On days 9 to 10, I woke up to the sound of something outside the mead hall. I quickly ran up the stairs and looked over the balcony. It's Loki, and he's being followed by a gang of skeletons. I've got to help him. I was about to rush down to fight when someone else suddenly appeared. It looked like the elite skeleton guard, and someone else was next to him. That must be Gorr.
Take him prisoner and search the village. His brother could be nearby.
I had just gotten a new weapon, but there was no way I could take on all of them in my current state. All I could do was run into the storage room and hope they didn't find me. On day 11, I slowly made my way out of the storage room after what had felt like a lifetime. I made my way up into the mountains, where it started to snow heavily. This weather is getting bad, I better stop and make a camp for the night. Using the wood I had collected in the village, I quickly made a small hut to keep me safe. When the hut was finished, I set up a campfire outside and sat down in front of it. I know Loki is an oddball, but he's still my brother. It's not fair that he got captured. I'm also not any closer to finding Mjolnir. I don't think I can do this. Suddenly, the flames grew brighter, and a vision of Odin appeared in the flames.
My son, do not lose hope. You are a god, but that is not what makes you great. Everyone has the gift of greatness within them, but all people must choose what they will do with that gift. You can let it guide you, or you can hide it away. God or not, you can become what you wish to be, but you must make the choice. No one will make it for you.
I understand. I can work through this. It will take time. Do you know anything of Mjolnir? If I'm going to be successful, I have to stop Gorr from getting his hands on the hammer.
Everything has not been revealed to me, but I know it is somewhere deep and somewhere dark. You must take caution. It is guarded by a creature in chains. Take heart and carry on. You will find your way.
Then, just as suddenly as he appeared, Odin disappeared into the flames. Okay, I think I can do this. Somewhere deep and dark. A dungeon, maybe. I'll keep an eye out. On days 12 through 15, I left my camp and headed over the mountain pass. I decided to keep searching the countryside in hopes of finding some more clues. As I made my way over the mountain, I noticed a group of skeletons gathered in the distance. I don't see Gorr, the elite skeleton guard. This must be a scouting party. I decided to take these guys on and see if I could learn anything. I came charging across the land as the skeletons quickly turned and came at me. This one is for my brother. By using my new iron hammer, I was able to quickly take care of the first couple of skeletons. The other ones tried charging at me too, but they were no match for my hammer skills. As the last skeleton faded, I felt electricity start to course through my veins. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning came from the sky, and I turned into Thunderstrike, a teenage version of myself. Whoa, I'm no longer a baby, and check it out, now I have 10 hearts. I was so excited about my new upgrade, I almost didn't notice a map laying amongst the skeleton bones. What's this? I picked it up and saw it was a map leading to where they were holding Loki. It's not a map to Mjolnir, but at least I'll be able to help Loki. On days 16 to 19, I headed back to my base to prepare. I was sure they would have some serious fortifications guarding Loki, and I needed to make sure I was ready for anything. Once I reached my base, I got to work on building a forge area. I needed to have a good workstation set up in order to make all the gear I would need. This forge is looking great, but I don't have anything to make at it. I'll have to head into the mines to get properly geared. I made my way down into a nearby cave. The cave was filled with lava, so I had to be careful as I made my way down. I quickly got to work and started grabbing everything I could find, starting with some emeralds. I've got something in mind for these emeralds, but I'll get to that later. Then I found some large chunks of gold, as well as some iron. This cave was full of massive ore veins, so I was able to get tons of supplies. Before I could finish mining everything though, I heard a sound coming from the other end of the cave. What is that? I made my way over and saw a squad of skeleton assassins. Uh-oh, how did they find me? I better take them out before they can tell their boss where my base is. I have to be careful too. Those axes can kill me in one hit. I made my way over to them and stuck to the high ground. Using my hammer in the terrain, I was able to keep them at bay and finish them off. Whew, it looks like I'm safe for now. I better hurry and get up to the surface. On days 20 to 22, I entered my forge and started smelting the iron I had collected. I needed to hurry and get things going so I could go look for Loki. The iron was going to take some time to smelt though, and given all the emeralds I had collected in the cave, I had an idea. I would never admit this to him, but one of my fellow Avengers has more courage than anyone I've ever met. I'm going to build a statue of him, in hopes it can encourage me to overcome any obstacles in my way. I was still the strongest, but got to work on the build. I wasn't going to be able to completely finish it now, but could certainly make some good progress. My iron was going to be finished smelting soon, so I decided to stop for the day. But before I grab that, I hope that you can help me out and hit subscribe. Ring the bell too, because you're not going to want to miss my next adventure, and if you have any ideas of what my next adventure should be, let me know in the comments. With the iron complete, I then put together a full set of iron armor, leggings, a helmet, boots, and a chest plate.
Wow.
Then I equipped everything. Alright, it's showtime. Let's go rescue Loki. I grabbed the map and headed over the mountain. I have no idea what could be waiting for me. I sure hope everything goes well. On days 23 to 27, the map led me to the top of a snowy mountain, where I could see a structure off in the distance. That castle must be where they're keeping Loki. Could this be where my hammer is located too? Oh, no, this isn't deep and dark, but maybe we can find a clue. I headed into the castle and saw Loki was being kept inside of a magical cage. It must have been stopping him from using his powers. Standing next to the cage, though, was the elite skeleton guard.
Ha ha ha! We knew you'd come looking for your brother. You fell right into my trap. I'm going to take you prisoner, and then no one will stop Gorr.
Why is Gorr doing this?
Gorr the God Butcher is here to do just that. Butcher the gods. He doesn't fear you, or any god for that matter. He's going to find your hammer and make a portal back to Asgard. Asgard will burn, along with you, Odin, and the rest of your people.
That will never happen. I charged the skeleton guard with my iron hammer, and we started to fight. He was really strong, but with my new armor and strength, he couldn't do much to me. But I couldn't fight him forever. How was I going to get Loki out of that cage?
Brother, the lanterns!
As I continued to fight, I noticed that there were two strangely colored lanterns hanging above Loki's cage. They must be powering the enchantment. I managed to land a hard hit on the skeleton guard, which gave me a moment to break the lanterns and bust Loki out of his cage. Good luck taking on both of us. Loki jumped into the fight and I could tell we were winning. The skeleton guard didn't stand a chance. The skeleton guard took one final swing, then turned around and ran away. You better run, you coward! Loki, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I had everything under control.
Remind me again how you are always rescuing me.
You know what? Just for that, you can walk back to the base yourself.
And just like that, Loki teleported away. I'll take that as his way of saying thank you. But yeah, I better get back to the base. From days 28 to 32, I was heading back to the base when I saw someone up ahead on the mountain. When I got closer, I saw it was Hawkeye. Clint, what are you doing here?
I gotta be honest, man, I don't know. I was at home one second, then the next, I was teleported into this forest. Something about that process left me feeling weak. That's when a massive bear came out of nowhere and stole my bow. Can you believe that?
Wow, yeah, that's something. Did you see where it went? I can help you get it back.
Yeah, it's off in that direction. Let's go.
On days 33 to 36, we were searching through the forest when we saw the bear in the distance. That bear over there, is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one. What's the deal with this universe? Are all the bears giant or something?
Beats me, I was teleported here too. I'm looking for my hammer, but I can fill you in on all the details later. Let's go get your bow back. We made our way over to the bear and started to fight. Hawkeye was right. This bear was no ordinary bear, but with the help of my fellow Avenger, we were able to take it down.
Hey, what's the deal? It didn't drop my bow.
Oh look, there it is. On a nearby branch, we could see Hawkeye's bow. I ran over and grabbed it, then tossed it over to him. There you go, buddy. How are you feeling?
Honestly, not great. The whole teleporting thing is new for me. Have you got a place to heal up?
I sure do. Follow me. On days 37 to 40, we arrived back at the base. It was going to be nice having someone I could trust around. Once he was feeling better, I'm sure he would help me with my mission. We got straight to work clearing a space for his camp. I told him I could build everything for him while he rests, but he insisted that building a camp was rest to him, just as long as we don't have to fight any more giant bears. We had soon cleared a good space and got to work on setting up his base. We worked on the foundation, then split off. Hawkeye worked on the house, while I worked on the target practice range. This base would give him everything he needed. Soon, we were finished.
Wow.
Hey, thanks for getting me all set up.
No problem. I hope you can get feeling better soon. I could really use your help.
Yeah, man, absolutely. By the way, I noticed you started building a statue of the strongest Avenger.
Second strongest, but go on.
Yeah, right. I noticed you needed some more materials. I've got some purple wool that should work perfect.
That would be great. Clint and I then got to work on the next part of the statue. Strongest Avenger? Surely he didn't mean to say that. And even if he did, he's definitely got to be the only one who thinks it. Soon, we had finished the second part. Thanks for your help, Clint. I was standing at the base of the statue admiring our work when Loki ran up and shoved me. Hey, what was that for?
Did you forget I was here? Do you really think I want to stay in the same house as you?
He had a good point. I didn't want to share a room with him either. So we headed around to the back of my house and built out an extension for Loki to stay in. I made sure to include everything he would need so he wouldn't have to bug me. After a while, it was all done. On days 41 to 43, I met Hawkeye at a shooting range. He told me there was something he needed to talk to me about. Hey, what's up? How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I'm not 100%, but I remember something that I think would be useful. It sounds like you've got quite the battle ahead of you, so we're gonna need all the help we can get. When I was coming through the portal, I remember catching a glimpse of that kid, Peter Parker. He might have landed somewhere in this world too.
Oh yes, Spider-Boy. I'll go look for him.
Spider-Man, but he's gone.
Another Avenger! I don't know why everyone was getting teleported here, but Hawkeye was right. I could use all the help I could get. Soon, I had made it back to the forest and started looking around. Parker! Spider-Boy! I checked all over the place but couldn't find him anywhere. The sun was starting to set though, so I decided to make a camp for the night. I finished setting up my tent and settled into my bed. In the middle of the night though, I heard a horrible noise. When I got up, it was a bunch of spiders. Oh gross, get out of here. I managed to fight off the spiders before they could do any real harm. But where did they come from? Maybe Parker is nearby. On days 44 to 49, I headed into the woods to see if I could find anything. I soon saw a bunch of webs, which were leading deeper into the forest. I can follow these webs. Maybe Parker will be at the end of them. As I followed them, I soon saw they led to a cave. As I came to the cave, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Look at all these spiders. And look, there's a giant one in there. I've got to take care of this guy before he finds my base. I rushed into the cave to take him out when Spider-Man dropped down from the ceiling. Whoa, Mr. Thor, hang on a second. Spider-Boy, I've been looking for you. It's Spider-Man, actually, but don't hurt the spider. He's a good guy. A good guy? Why did you send your minions after me in the forest? Yeah, he's sorry about that. He thought you might be working for Gorr. I asked him what he knew about Gorr, and he explained he didn't know where he was or where Mjolnir was. He did have some information for us, though. The portals that were bringing everyone here, they were actually created by Loki. Loki? I knew I couldn't trust him. He's trying to rule over Asgard again. The spider explained that he felt bad for sending his spiders after me and had an item that might help. He reached into a nearby chest and threw a weapon over to me. Whoa, this is a netherite destroyer. This thing will pack a serious punch. It's not as powerful as Mjolnir, but I don't think anything else is as strong as this. I thanked the spider for his help and invited Spider-Man back to my base. I was going to need some help dealing with this Loki situation. On days 50 to 53, Spider-Man and I arrived back at the base and headed straight for Loki's house. We checked downstairs but didn't see him. We headed upstairs and he wasn't up there either. As we ran back outside, we almost ran into him.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it rude to knock before you enter now?
Loki, enough of your tricks. I know you brought Gorr here and are pulling everyone from their worlds. You're not going to overthrow Odin, and you'll never rule Asgard.
Okay, can you take a breath and let me explain? It's true that I made everyone teleport here, but it's not what I was trying to do.
So what were you trying to do?
I thought it would be a funny prank to scare you with an illusion of Gorr, but something went wrong with the spell, causing the real Gorr to show up. I thought bringing your Avenger friends in could help you solve the problem.
Who else did you bring here?
Why so angry? Aren't you excited to see all your friends again? Really, I'm doing you a favor.
Loki, who else?
That little rabbit guy you like so much.
Rabbit? I think he means Rocket the Raccoon, sir. Ah, right. Where is he?
He's somewhere in the savannah. He shouldn't be too hard to find.
Feeling frustrated with Loki, I needed to do something to calm down and decided to get to work building Spider-Man a place to live. Spider-Man wanted to help too, so we worked together to build him a nice cottage. He said it was nice to get out of the city for a while, even though there were still bad guys around. We soon finished the house. Wow, thanks, Mr. Thor. This place looks awesome. After he had finished checking out the house, I saw Spider-Man looking at the Hulk statue. Impressive, isn't it? It is. Mr. Banner is so smart. He's the strongest of us too, so it makes sense you'd want to make a statue of him. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The strongest? Why was everyone saying that? Here, how about you help me finish the next part? Take some emeralds and give me a hand. Spider-Man and I got to work on the next part of the statue. Maybe I was being too prideful thinking I was the strongest. Nah, that couldn't be it. We soon finished the next part of the statue. It was nearly finished. On days 54 to 57, I headed off to the savannah to try and find Rocket. I couldn't focus on anything else, knowing that one of my friends might be in trouble. Before long, I saw Rocket trapped on a hill, surrounded by skeletons, including the elite skeleton guard.
Come on down. We aren't going to hurt you.
What, are you nuts? Give me that little sword of yours and then maybe we can talk.
Rocket always talked tough, but I could tell when he needed help. I jumped out from my hiding place. Hey, over here! The skeleton guard looked over, and as I got closer, some of his soldiers attacked. It was no use, though. My new netherite hammer could take them out in a single hit. The other ones were so scared, they didn't dare try to attack me.
You again? You think that new hammer is going to let you defeat me? You're nothing without Mjolnir.
I'll show you. I leapt into battle and hit him with my hammer. Even though I had gotten stronger, he was still extremely powerful. He was so strong, he brought me down to just 3 hearts.
Time to say goodbye. Asgard will fall.
You'll never take my home. I rose up in fury and hit him as hard as I could. After a couple of swings, he was down.
Hey, nice going. No wonder everyone thinks you're the strongest Avenger.
Thank you. I'm glad someone here still has their head on straight. It's good to see you, Rocket.
Yeah, good to see you too, pal. Say, you're looking for your hammer, right? Before that skeleton brute got me cornered, I heard him laughing with his men. I guess one of their scouting parties had located the hammer. He said it was so close to you, but you'd never find it. He said it was under your feet this whole time.
Under our feet? I did run into one of his scouting parties in a cave under our base. It must be under my base. Come on, Rocket, let's get you back with the others. On days 58 to 62, I got to work building a base for Rocket. I needed to start mining down under the base, but I had to get Rocket set up first. I always want to treat my friends right. Once the house was finished, Rocket called out for me to head inside. Once I got inside, I saw he had set up an enchanting table.
Here, buddy, take this lapis I stole off the skeletons. You can use it to upgrade that armor of yours.
Using the lapis, I went about enchanting all of my armor. I didn't have the highest levels yet, but even just a little bit of enchantments can make a difference. I ended up giving each piece of armor different types of protection enchantments. Thanks, Rocket. I'm feeling more protected already. I then then headed outside to go to the mines, but paused to look at the unfinished statue. While I'm down there, it'll be good if I can find some more emeralds. There's still a lot more building to go. On day 63 to 66, I headed back into the caves I had been mining in earlier. I moved further into the cave system and saw there was a tunnel leading even deeper. I can't believe I came down here before and didn't notice this. As I headed further down, I came across a group of cave centipedes. I jumped forward and started attacking them. Out of my way, you creepy cave crawlers. I managed to land some strong blows and take them all out. That's when I noticed there's an entrance to a mine shaft. A mine shaft all the way down here? I've got to be getting close. I made my way into the small passage and ran into another group of cave centipedes. I took them out as quickly as I could so I could keep pushing ahead. Soon, I saw a bigger room before me and there was something written on the wall. What could it be? Could it be the greatest secret the world has ever known? Subscribe. It's not my hammer, but definitely a good idea. If anyone is watching this, I'd say go ahead and give it a try. It is free after all. On day 67 to 70, I entered a new part of the mine shaft. Upon looking around, I saw that the passage was littered with skulls and skeletons. Yikes, it looks like I'm not the first person who tried to get through these caves. I wonder what they were looking for. I moved further along and was suddenly attacked by a group of cave creepers. Oh no, I can't risk getting blown up. I had to be very careful as the creepers could explode at any second. By hitting them with my hammer and jumping back, I managed to take them all out without hurting myself too bad. Phew, that was a close one. I better pick up all this gunpowder. It could come in handy. With the creepers out of the way, I kept moving through the tunnel. Eventually, I saw a chest and went over to open it up. Holy cow, look at all these emeralds. This must be what the previous explorers were looking for. There's a lot here, but I'll need even more if I'm going to finish my statue. On day 71 to 74, I continued even further into the cave. Surely Mjolnir would be down here. Suddenly, I walked into a huge room with a minecart path snaking its way down to the bottom of the room. Whoa, I've got to be getting close now. I followed the path until I came to a large gap. It was a long drop to the bottom, so I carefully placed blocks across the gap. Once I was across, I jumped down to the other side. Further ahead, I came across another group of skeletons. More of these guys, huh? Makes me nervous as to what's ahead. Just then, I heard a terrifying sound and turned to see a massive cave badger come charging right at me. Could this be what was killing the explorers? Oh man, if I'm not careful, this thing is gonna knock me over the edge. I can't fly without my hammer. A fall like that definitely wouldn't be good for me. The badger was ferocious and almost knocked me off the edge several times, but in the end, he was the one who got knocked off. Have a nice trip. On days 75 to 78, I came to what I could tell was the end of the tunnel. As I made my way down the tracks, I could see something huge at the bottom, a creature in chains. I found the deep dark that Odin mentioned, and this must be the creature in chains. Mjolnir must be close. I descended to the bottom of the room and noticed there were some massive emerald deposits. Given Odin's warning, I needed to be extra careful not to disturb this creature. But getting all the emeralds I needed for my build was too good to pass up. If I'm really careful, I'm sure he won't notice if I take just a few blocks. I peeked into a nearby crate and snagged a few golden apples. Then I started to mine some emerald blocks. As I started to mine though, I heard a terrible noise and the creature began to shake. The chains began crunching and clanging, and the massive beast started to break loose. I was in trouble now. He let out a deep growl and broke loose from the chains. Oh boy, this is gonna be my toughest fight yet. He let out another roar and attacked me. This guy was no joke. His hits did some major damage, and after no time at all, I was already having to eat my golden apples. Oh, I don't know if I can win this one. This guy is so strong. The giant managed to get a few more hits on me, but I kept sneaking in some blows of my own. I kept thinking of everything I had at stake. I had to win. I gave it everything I had and managed to take him out. Whoa, I can't believe I did it. That was way too close. On day 79 to 84, I noticed that the giant had been chained in front of a large door. There didn't seem to be any way in, but I had an idea. I headed over to a nearby enclave and dug up some blocks of sand. While I was over there, I helped myself to some emerald blocks as well. There's no problem with me grabbing these now. With the sand collected, I put down a crafting table and made myself some TNT using the gunpowder I had collected from the creepers. I also made myself a lever so I could light it off. Then, I placed the blocks down and flipped the switch. Here goes nothing. The TNT blew a hole in the door, and I made my way into the tunnel behind it. After a short walk to the end of the tunnel, I saw a huge crater in the ground, and Mjolnir was at the bottom. At long last, I found it! I can barely believe it! I quickly made my way down the ladder and up to the anvil. Mjolnir flew into my hands. I jumped to the top of the anvil and felt the electricity flowing through my veins. There was a bolt of lightning, and I turned back into the adult version of myself. At last, I'm all powered up! Gorr isn't gonna know what hit him. On days 85 to 89, I decided I needed to test out my new powers. Alright Mjolnir, let's fly. With a lurch, I launched myself up into the air and out of the pit. I soon made my way back into the large room. The stack of emeralds from before were still sitting there, so I mined out the rest of the emeralds I needed to finish the statue. Once I had collected those, I used Mjolnir to launch me into the sky and fly to the top of the minecart tracks. I'll be out of here in no time. As I was leaving, I came across some of the mobs I had fought earlier. Let's see how you handle this. I aimed at the creeper and let Mjolnir loose. It flew through the air, striking the the creeper. I then finished it off at close range. Using my new abilities, I continued to fight my way out of the tunnel, killing mobs with a combination of close and long-range hits. Once I was nearing the top of the tunnel, I came across some diamonds. Great, I can upgrade my armor using this. I mined out as many diamonds as I could get, then finally ascended out of the cave. On days 90 to 94, I came out of the cave and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Sitting in the middle of our settlement was the Avengers Tower. I saw my friends grouped outside and ran up to them. Whoa, guys, what's going on?
I may have forgotten to mention it. I also teleported Doctor Strange here. Greetings. I thought you could use all the help you could get. I've been working on portals to get everyone back, but it looks like I can only pull things in as long as Gorr is still around. I figured I would pull the resources of the Avengers Tower in to help with the fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you're settled, come pay each of us a visit. Using the resources in the tower, we all managed to get something that should help you in the final battle. We'll talk soon.
On days 95 to 96, I headed straight to my forge to start crafting my diamond armor. I brought the diamonds to my anvil, and by using Mjolnir, I was able to craft myself a full set of diamond armor. With my diamond armor complete, I better go check with everyone to see what else they were able to find. But before I could walk off, Hawkeye walked up to me.
I know you were gonna come see me, but since you're working on your armor, thought I'd bring this to you now.
Hawkeye tossed out a handful of netherite ingots. Whoa, this is even better. I'll get upgrading right away. As I upgraded my diamond to netherite, Hawkeye explained that he had found all of it inside the Avengers Tower. It's a good thing Doctor Strange was here to help. With all of my armor upgraded, I headed over to Rocket's house. Hey buddy, what have you got for me?
You are in luck. I went digging through the tower and managed to scrounge up some more lapis for enchants. This ought to help beef up that new armor of yours.
I took the lapis and got to work enchanting my new armor. Rocket was right. These enchantments were going to make a massive difference in the fight against Gorr. With my armor fully enchanted, I then headed over to Spider-Man's house. Hey, Mr. Thor. Wow, I'm so glad you're here. I checked out the labs in the tower, and would you believe it? They were full of brewing ingredients. I managed to put together some potions. I hope you'll find them helpful. Spider-Man threw out a speed, fire resistance, and health potion. He was right. These would definitely be helpful. From there, I headed out to find Doctor Strange and thank him for all of his help. To my surprise, he came flying down from the tower and landed right in front of me.
Interesting choice for a statue. I thought you would have chosen the strongest Avenger.
Well, it would have been a little strange to make a statue of myself.
Of you? I was referring to me.
What? Dr. Strange let out a chuckle.
Toss me some emeralds and I'll give you a hand in finishing this thing.
I threw him some emeralds and we both flew to the top of the statue. Doctor Strange flew around and placed blocks, while I jumped around and placed my blocks. I guess a part of me was grateful Loki had teleported all my friends here. It was nice to see them again. It was just too bad my buddy Hulk couldn't actually be here. And just like that, the statue was done. After everything was done, I found myself standing by the base and heard a familiar voice in my head.
Hulk no smash, Hulk less.
Suddenly, a stream of green particles appeared around me, and I gained 10 more hearts. Maybe Hulk had been here all along after all. On days 97 to 98, I had finished my preparations, so I met back up with everyone outside my house. I still had to see what Loki had prepared for me. As I walked up, I saw one of his green portals sparkling next to him.
Well, brother, I must say that I have the best gift for you of all. A portal that leads directly to Gorr's base.
Thank you, Loki. I know everyone here wants to help, but this is something I have to do on my own. You've all been amazing friends. If I don't make it, find a way to stop Gorr and save Asgard. I took a deep breath and stepped into the portal. On day 99, I appeared on the other side of the portal at the entrance to Gorr's base. I was getting ready to enter when I had the sneaking suspicion something was behind me. Whoa, what's that? Some lightning crash and a huge subscribe was floating in the sky. Man, I feel like this word keeps following me around. Oh well, I guess it's just a sign that is heavily suggesting something that someone should do. I don't know about you, but I'd listen to it. I mean, look at all that lightning. But this was no ordinary sign, and that was no ordinary lightning. As I walked into Gorr's palace, I could feel something was different. I could see Gorr up ahead, but first, I had to get through his band of skeletons. By the power of Thor, eat lightning! I threw Mjolnir, and the nearest skeleton was immediately struck by lightning. My full powers were finally unlocked. The skeletons gave me everything they had, but none of them could stop me. I used every attack I had, throwing Mjolnir, hitting them with lightning, and striking them at close range. Soon, all of the skeletons were defeated, and only Gorr and I remained. On day 100, I stood face to face with Gorr. You tried, but it's over now. Without warning, Gorr attacked. Clearly, he didn't have time for monologues. Why are you doing this? What do you have to gain by attacking Asgard?
It's not just Asgard, it's all the gods. They're all the same. They only care about one thing.
Gorr was enraged, and I was having trouble holding him off. One thing? And what's that?
Themselves.
Gorr was really starting to do some damage now. We kept fighting, and I was able to get some hits in, but his hits were harder and harder. I was getting down to just a few hearts.
I would offer you mercy, but you don't deserve it. The people of Asgard need to be free from you.
My hearts were nearly gone. Maybe he was right. I should have asked for help in this fight. Why was I so prideful and wanting to do it alone? I only had half of a heart left and couldn't fight anymore.
Any final words?
Just then, I heard a sound behind me, and a green portal appeared. Loki, Spider-Man, and Rocket came running through.
What, did you actually think we'd let you have all the fun without us?
We're here to help, sir.
Look, here I am, rescuing you again.
Everyone lined up around me. Gorr wasn't right about me at all. I've always cared about my friends. Let's do this. We all started to attack Gorr. I threw my hammer, Spider-Man unleashed his webs, Rocket shot his rockets, and Loki hit him with his scepter.
You're not like other gods I killed.
That's because I have something worth fighting for. We kept up our attacks and I could tell Gorr no longer stood a chance. With the final swing of my hammer, he was defeated. Good work, everyone. We did it. Now let's get out of here. Loki opened a portal and we ran back through. Once I had arrived back, everyone was waiting for me. Doctor Strange had opened another portal that would send everyone home. As everyone jumped into the portal and was sent back to their worlds, I thanked them for their friendship. Everyone chose greatness today, and I can't think of a better group of friends. On day 1, I spawned in as the Hulk. Oh yeah, look at me, I'm incredibly tiny. I was small, but I could still punch pretty hard and jump pretty high. Before I could spend too much time admiring my abilities though, I was attacked by a bunch of baboons. Get away from me, you mad monkeys. I thought about running away, but wait, I was the Hulk. I started swinging my fists. In no time, I had pounded the baboons into the ground. Bet you thought this little green guy was an easy dinner. I decided to go looking for my friends. As I was exploring, I came across a village. While walking the streets, I noticed that it was empty and several of the buildings had been damaged. Wow, I wonder what happened here. I kept exploring but couldn't find any survivors, so I found myself a good house and went to sleep for the night. On day 2, I left the village and entered a nearby forest. Time to start punching trees. I punched down trees until my fists were starting to hurt, then set up a crafting table to make myself some wooden tools. I made all the tools I was going to need, then headed over to a nearby cave. Wood can only get me so far. Better get some stone. In the cave, I managed to find some coal, along with plenty of stone. As I was mining though, I suddenly heard a noise behind me. Ah! The little boy ran off into the cave. He had totally caught me off guard. Hang on a second, come back here. I ran off in the direction he had gone and soon caught up with him. That's when I saw a skeleton was trying to attack him. Hang tight. With my Hulk strength, I managed to take him out. Then I turned to the little boy.
Please don't eat me.
Eat you? Why would I eat you?
So, you're not gonna eat me?
No, of course not. I don't want to hurt anyone. What are you doing down here in this cave?
A big monster came to our village and destroyed it. My mom told me to hide in this cave. The monster reminded me of you, but I guess you're not as big as he was.
Like me? Huh, that's confusing.
But do you think it's safe to go back to the village?
I didn't want to break it to this kid that the village had been completely wiped out, so I didn't. It's still pretty scary out there, so our best bet is just to stay here in the cave. We can go look for your family tomorrow. On day 3, the boy, whose name was Nash, and I headed back to the village. This was going to be awkward. Nash showed me to his house, but it was completely destroyed. He was feeling really sad when suddenly we heard a cry from the inside. Someone is in here! I ran over to a pile of rubble, and underneath I could see a pair of eyes.
It's Mila. That's my big sister.
I quickly cleared out all of the blocks, letting the little girl out of the rubble. Are you okay? What happened here?
I think I'm okay. It was a green monster that attacked us. He was big and scary. Kind of like you, but he didn't have friendly eyes. He ran around our town, destroying everyone and everything in front of him. Our house collapsed, so I don't know if my parents escaped or not.
I'm sorry to hear it. How long has it been?
I don't know. Days have gone by since I've been under here.
Just then, we heard a howl and a group of feral wolves appeared. They must have been scavenging in the abandoned village. Hang on, kids, I'll take care of this. I sprang into action, hitting the wolves. They were vicious as they snapped with their fangs, but I wasn't going to let them hurt these poor kids. Soon enough, I had taken several of them out. It wasn't enough though, as I could hear some more wolves off in the distance. Come on, guys, I don't think I can fight all of them off. Let's get out of here. We ran from the village until we were a safe distance away. It was time to start building us a shelter. First off, I put together a full set of stone tools so I'd have the equipment needed to get any job done. Then I got to work building a simple house for us to stay in. It wasn't anything fancy, as we needed something quick, but at least for now, it was a place to call home. Once the house was finished, I then made several torches and put them outside to stop mobs from spawning. We had survived another day, but who knew what surprises were coming next? On days 4 to 5, I left the kids at the house and went to go look for some food. We weren't going to last out here if we didn't have something to eat. Oh, look, pigs! I had spotted some pigs, so I rushed over and attacked them. I quickly knocked them all out and collected all of their meat. Just then, Black Panther came out of the trees. T'Challa, what are you doing out here?
Diarra is a beast that has been destroying the villages in the area. They call him Abomination. I have tried to face him myself, but he was too powerful.
Oh man, if you can't beat him, how can I? I'm so small.
You know, there is a cave near here that contains something I think might help you.
He explained where I needed to go, and so I set off to find what he was talking about. After a bit, I soon found the cave he was describing. As I entered in, I saw what he was talking about. It was gamma radiation. This is what made the Hulk in the first first place? I stepped up to it and immediately started to absorb the radiation. I could feel it entering my bloodstream when suddenly I grew bigger and stronger than before. Awesome! I feel like I could beat anything right now. Speaking of which, there was a roar as a Zoglin had just shown up. He must have been absorbing the radiation too. Let's try these new powers out. But much to my disappointment, he was really strong. I was losing the fight. I was taking too much damage and had no choice but to hurry and run away. On day 6 to 8, I had arrived back at the house. That's when I realized I had eaten all the meat I was supposed to bring home. Oh man, the kids are probably hungry. I turned around and headed back out. Luckily, it didn't take too long, and I quickly found some chickens. This will make a great meal for the kids. I then headed into a nearby mine to try and find some better materials. As I went deeper into the mine, I soon came across some iron. Yes, now I can finally stop using these stone tools. With my pockets full of iron, I headed back to the house for good this time. As I entered the house, the kids were really impressed with how much bigger I had gotten. Unfortunately, they were less impressed with eating raw meat. That's a good point. Let me fix that. I got right to work adding on a kitchen to the house. I'm not sure why I thought feeding them raw meat would be a good idea. I guess I'm just used to being able to eat whatever I want. With the kitchen complete, I got the chicken all cooked up. Now the kids would be able to have a decent meal. With the food all sorted out, I then started smelting down the iron ore. Using my new iron bars, I made myself a brand spanking new set of iron tools, which would be way better than my stone ones. Then I got to it, making some iron armor. I wasn't able to make a full set. I wasn't sure it would be strong enough to take on Abomination, but it would be better than nothing. That's when I realized that none of us had a place to sleep. I then made the kids their own bedrooms, complete with beds in their favorite colors. On days 9 to 10, I woke up to a knock on the door. It was Black Panther.
How are you feeling about your powers now? Abomination is nearby. Perhaps together we can defeat it.
Yeah, together I'm sure we'll have a chance. I followed Black Panther out and across the land. We soon arrived at a seaside village. I could see Abomination rampaging through the town, destroying people and buildings alike. Oh man, he's bigger than I thought he would be. This isn't going to be an easy fight. We couldn't let him to continue to hurt these innocent people though, so I charged down into the village, straight at Abomination. Leave these people alone. Abomination turned and hit me hard. Ouch! I don't care how much you hurt me. I'll never stop fighting you.
Get out of here, you lab experiment. I don't have time for pests like you.
He kept fighting, but it was clear I didn't have a chance. Just as Abomination was ready to finish me off, Black Panther hopped into the fight. He was able to get a few hits in, but it wasn't enough to stop Abomination. He was just too strong. The two of us ran off as Abomination continued his rampage through the village. We had both nearly been defeated, and T'Challa was nearly on the verge of death. Luckily, we made it out of there alive. On days 11 to 12, we arrived back at my base. T'Challa, let me make a room for you to heal up. I quickly got to work making him a fresh new room so he could relax and get his health back up. I soon finished the build, and T'Challa was able to move in. The kids had run in to see him and were very excited. Apparently, they thought he was their new kitty. T'Challa was not amused. Hang out here, guys. I'll see about getting us some food. I started to leave the house, eating our last bit of meat. In the distance, I could hear some spiders. I better take those out before they get too close to the base. I soon came upon the spiders and managed to fight them off without too much trouble. As I picked up the string they dropped, it gave me an idea. If I had some leads, I could get some pigs and raise them at the house. Luckily, I soon came across some slime. I fought the slime, destroying all of its parts. I picked up the slime balls they dropped and then used the ingredients to craft some leads. Time to go pig wrestling. I went searching through the woods and eventually found the pigs I was looking for. Using the newly created leads, I led them back to the base. I then led them into a pen that I had built earlier. Finally, now there will be enough meat for everyone. I wanted to be sure we had some variety though, so I broke some grass to get seeds. I'd also gathered some water in a bucket, so I was all ready to build a farm. I tilled the ground and placed the water, which then let me plant the seeds I had collected. This base is really starting to come along. The only thing I was missing at this point was a statue to really put my mark on the place. Since I was so busy with food, I thought I would make it my favorite food. You'll have to let me know if you can guess what it is. Once I had finished the first part, it had gotten pretty late, and I could see some creepers had started spawning near the base. I better take care of that before they blow everyone to bits. I headed down to the base and knocked out all the creepers. Fighting them was always scary business, but I managed to knock them all out without too much trouble. On days 13 to 15, I decided that I needed to focus on getting more powerful, but I wasn't sure where to start. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Tony, what are you doing here?
I was flying over and saw the statue you were building. Who else would build that other than you? Figured I'd stop in and say hello.
Boy, Tony, you really dropped in at the right time. This abomination has been rampaging through the towns here, and I'm not strong enough to stop him.
Oh, well, I know what you mean. I've had a few scrapes of my own I wasn't sure I was going to get out of. What have you got so far?
Well, I came across some gamma radiation that powered me up, but that's about it.
Well, what are you wasting your time with me for? That's your answer right there. Surely there's more radiation points out there.
You think so? But how could we find them?
bring me some dirt from the cave. With that, I can build you a detector that will lead you to new deposits. Piece of cake.
I agreed to the plan, but there was just one problem. That Zoglin would still be there. I decided to head back to the caves in order to get some more iron. With the new iron I collected, I brought it back up and smelted it down. Using the iron ingots, I completed the rest of my armor. Alright, let's give this thing a go. I soon reached the cave from before. I think my best bet is going to be trying to sneak. I tiptoed into the cave and saw the perfect block for a dirt sample. I quickly mined it up without any movement by the Zoglin. Looks like I might just make it out of here alive. Just then, I noticed there were some diamonds nearby. It was too good to pass up. I headed over to the diamond and mined it out, but unfortunately, it woke up the Zoglin. Oh boy, here we go. The Zoglin let out a roar and attacked. I was the same level of strength as last time, but I didn't have this much armor back then. The Zoglin was still incredibly powerful, and it was a tough fight. And thanks to my new gear, I was able to take him out and win. On days 16 to 19, I managed to make it back to the base with a sample. Tony needed a lab to work out of, and had gotten to work putting it all together. There was some pretty cool stuff going on in there, and after a while, it was all done. Wow, this lab is looking awesome. With the lab complete, Tony could start working on that radiation detector. I could tell he was going to be here for a while though, so I got to work building him a house of his own. It probably wasn't the mansion he was used to, but he would just have to get used to it. As I was finishing the house, Tony came running over to me. He had finished the radiation detector. Oh, Tony, this is gonna help so much. Thank you. It was time to get out there and become even more powerful. On days 20 to 22, I had the detector in my hand and started running off through the woods. As I ran, I almost ran straight into a woodland mansion. The gamma must be underneath this mansion. I'll have to keep my guard up though. This place is dangerous. I walked into the mansion and took a look around. As I walked down the hallways, I was immediately attacked by illagers. Don't mind me, it's just a casual breaking and entering. The illagers started firing off their arrows, and I ran around giving them the old one too. It was tough, but luckily my iron armor was doing enough to protect me. I kept pushing my way through, fighting the illagers off as I went. Eventually, I saw a chest room and started taking a look inside. Oh wow, these materials will be perfect for my statue. What luck! I checked more chests and found even more materials in the chests. As I passed around the room, I saw something floating on a pedestal. Power gloves. I'll bet I can punch super hard now. I kept following the tracker and came across some more illagers. Using my new power glove, I was able to knock them out much faster than before. Boy, am I glad I found this thing. As I continued down the hallway, I soon saw a very strange looking set of stairs. This must be the place. As I reached the bottom, I saw a massive warped mosquito. Hi, wanna move? Suddenly, the mosquito took flight and charged. This dude had clearly been hitting the gym, and his punches were powerful. I had to do a lot of running and hiding to try and stay in the fight. Oh, mosquitoes were already bad enough. Why is this one so much worse? In addition to his punches, he also shot a gross looking liquid at me. I had to end this, and fast. Using the plants as cover, I managed to jump out and get hits in. It took a lot of effort, but eventually, I was able to take him out. Now that is how you squish a bug. With the mosquito gone, I headed into the doorway and could see the gamma inside. I stood in place as I absorbed its energy. Suddenly, I got a little bigger and gained more hearts. Yes, this will never get old. As I was getting ready to leave the mansion, I caught the scent of a nearby farm, but it was inside. I went down the hallway and saw a room full of carrots. Well, the illagers aren't going to be needing this anymore. I gathered up as many carrots as I could. Now we'd have a more reliable food source. Time to get back to the base. On days 23 to 26, I got right to work planting all the crops I had gotten from the illagers. As I was finishing, I heard Black Panther calling to me.
Well, we don't have more radiation for you. Perhaps we can train you to get you stronger.
Well, I'm sure every little bit will help. I'm in. I headed out behind the house and got to work building a new training course according to T'Challa's instructions. It was looking like it would be a fun course, but certainly challenging. Once the course was complete, T'Challa ran through it to show me how it's done. He made it look really easy. Alright, I'll give it a go. I did my best to run through, but definitely made some mistakes. This was going to take some practice to get better. After giving it a few tries, T'Challa suggested that we try fighting. I hope you've got your armor on tight. I'm gonna smash you.
Good luck.
We faced off and started to fight. I was really strong, but I think that was my mistake. The Black Panther was an experienced fighter and was able to get more hits in. In the end, he was able to defeat me. Aw man, looks like I've got a lot of work to do.
Do not worry. Even the smallest seeds can become a mighty tree. You will get there.
On days 27 to 31, I was feeling especially motivated to get stronger. I decided to start looking for some more radiation stations. Okay, let's see where this thing leads me this time. I followed the radiation detector across the land and eventually reached a snowy tundra. It looks like it's pointing me to this cave over here. I didn't see any green glowing, but maybe it was just deep within. I headed deeper into the cave. Suddenly, I was attacked by a bunch of diamond zombies. Leave me alone! I was able to beat them back, but they were much tougher than I thought. I needed that radiation boost more than I realized. I kept going and ran into a whole group of diamond skeletons too. Luckily, some of them shot each other, so they ended up fighting amongst themselves while I took them out. Guess that's what happens when you don't have a brain. The good news was that I was able to spot some diamonds, which I happily mined out. Well, this doesn't make me stronger physically, but it will definitely give me a leg up in a fight. With all the diamonds Enderman's mind, I headed back up out of the cave. Before I could get too far though, I heard a noise behind me. It was a Yeti. Uh-oh, these guys are strong. The Yeti and I started to fight. I was right, his blows were landing some hard hits. I wasn't sure I could take him, but I had to be strong. I couldn't leave those kids behind. I rose up and started landing blows. I could tell I was going to win. I only needed to land one more hit when suddenly the Yeti let out an ice attack, freezing me in place. He was hurt and ran away to go heal. This is not good. On days 32 to 35, I was still frozen. Luckily, the ice was starting to melt, and I was able to break free. Well, it's a good thing that Yeti left. Now, where was I? I followed my radiation detector, which soon led me to another cave. But look who it was. That Yeti. I know I can beat him, but he's probably just going to freeze me again. But I need that power. I moved closer to him, but before I could start to fight, he spoke.
Wait, don't hurt me. I thought you were the Abomination. I can see that you're different, though.
I try to be. What do you know about him?
Not much, other than he destroyed my village. Everyone I know was lost in the battle, and I'm the only one of my kind left.
What a monster. Why do you think he attacked your village?
Well, my village was near a gamma radiation source like the one in this cave. My best guess is that he was trying to get to it.
Oh no, it must power him up too. I've got to get to the radiation before he does. He has to be stopped.
I've been watching this cave to try and stop him in case he shows up, but I trust you to stop him. I'll let you in, but be warned, there's a monster even more powerful inside.
I'll take my chances. I headed into the cave. Soon, I saw what the Yeti had been talking about. Inside, there was a ghost mage. Uh-oh, here we go. The ghost mage charged at me. He wasn't going to make this easy. He looked like he had been waiting here a little too long. I'd be upset too if I didn't have any legs. But hey, at least he could levitate. Get out of my way. I swung as hard as I could, and at long last, the ghost mage was defeated. Now I could finally access the radiation. I stepped up to it and could feel the power enter into me. Soon, I was even stronger than before. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. As I left the cave, I invited the Yeti to come and stay with us. Since his village was destroyed and he no longer had a reason to guard the cave, he happily agreed. On days 36 to 39, I got right to work building the Yeti his own room. Turned out he used to live in a world full of monsters where he would help in their mailroom. He said he got banished to our world. It was all politics. Poor guy. With the Yeti's room complete, I decided to give the base some more upgrades to make it a little safer. We needed to beef up our defenses, just in case Abomination ever found us. Once the defenses were all completed, I was starting to get hungry. That's when I headed over to continue work on my statue. By this point, you've probably got a good idea of what my favorite food is. Leave your guesses in the comments. After a bit, I had finished the second part. That's when Black Panther came running up to me. He said he was impressed by how much bigger I had gotten. He said there was still a lot more work I had to do though, and invited me to do the obstacle course again. I would, but I'm just not very good at it. It's hard to do an obstacle course when there are so many other things I'm trying to get done.
I understand, but it will help you. If you can complete the course, I have an item I believe will help.
Oh, I like the sound of that. I'll have to keep training then. I ran over to the obstacle course and got to work. It was still hard, but I felt like I was doing even better than before. Black Panther encouraged me, even when I fell off and had to try again. I wasn't able to beat it today, but soon enough, I would have to win that prize. On days 40 to 43, I tried to use my radiation detector to find more gamma, but it wasn't working. Oh man, what's up with this thing? I headed over to Tony and asked him what was going on with it. He explained that I must have found all the gamma radiation within range of the detector. So how can we expand the range? Tony told me to wait there and headed into his plane. When he returned, he tossed out some eyes of ender and told me I needed to get some ender pearls. Oh boy, this isn't gonna be easy. I thanked him for his help and started searching for the end portal. My journey led me across the land. At one point, I even came across some diamonds, which I was able to use to finish up an entire set of diamond armor. I'm going to need this in the end for sure. It took a lot of searching, but eventually I made it into the stronghold and soon found myself outside the end portal. I inserted the eyes of ender. Well, here goes nothing. I jumped in. On days 44 to 49, I appeared in the end. Let's get those ender pearls. There were several endermen nearby, and I got right to work chopping them down. These guys were really scary when you looked them in the eyes, but you just had to be brave. I ended up getting into more than I asked for though, and was soon surrounded by them. How was I going to get out of this one? Suddenly, there was a sound above me, and the Scarlet Witch came flying in to help. Together, we were able to take out the rest of the endermen. Oh, you showed up just in time. I thought I was a goner.
Always happy to help a friend.
Do you know what's going on with the endermen though? I noticed that not a single one of them dropped any ender pearls.
I have noticed this as well, yes. There is something going on, but I don't know what it is yet.
Well, let's stick together and maybe we can figure this out. She agreed and we continued on through the end. Nearby there was an end city, so we went to check it out. As we got closer, we saw something terrifying. Look at that enderman, he's bigger than all of the others. We charged in and started to fight. This enderman was unlike anything I had ever seen before. He had 4 arms and would clap them together, trying to smash me in them. He would also pick up and throw blocks at me, as well as teleport around. This battle was really tough. With the Scarlet Witch's help though, we finally managed to take him out. He let out a shriek and exploded in a display of Enderman goop. It was pretty intense. And look, an Ender Pearl! The giant Enderman had left a single pearl behind. The Scarlet Witch told me I should take it, as she had more research she wanted to do in the end. She opened up a portal for me to return to the overworld, so I stepped in to head home. On days 50 to 53, I arrived back at my base. Safely back home, I went over to Tony to give him the Ender Pearl I had collected. He thanked me and got right to work, improving the gamma radiation detector. Suddenly, there was a sound outside. What was that? As I got closer to the sound of the noise, I saw that some Endermen were there. Scarlet Witch must have left the portal open too long. I hurried to defend the base from the Endermen, knocking them out one at a time. Once they were defeated, Scarlet Witch came through the portal.
Oh, I am sorry about that. I have been in the end for so long, I forgot to close my portal.
That's okay. Good luck with your research. She thanked me and headed back into the end. On days 54 to 57, I decided to go find Black Panther to do some training. What I found instead, though, was a note. Meet me in the woods north. I wonder what he's up to this time. I went north and soon found Black Panther, as well as a giant circle of stones. What's this all about?
Pay attention. This circle will summon a mystical monster. Defeat it, and you will receive a special item.
I stepped into the ring, and soon a magma monster appeared. He didn't seem like he was too tough, and that's because he wasn't. I jumped around and managed to take him out pretty easily. Is that all you wanted me to do? That was easy.
Turn around.
I turned around and saw a much bigger magma monster. Uh-oh. This guy was way stronger than the other one, and I was taking a beating. Why didn't T'Challa just have me fight this guy the first time? I felt like my training was paying off though, and soon I was winning. I got into position and managed to land the final blow, taking him out completely. Got him. Alright, now where's that special reward? Or is there another monster behind me? Black Panther chuckled, and suddenly a ring of fire appeared in the arena. I stepped into it and picked up an enchanted pair of diamond boots. Wow, these have feather falling 4 on them. Now I can survive huge falls. I thanked T'Challa for his help, then left to go back to the base. On days 58 to 62, I was arriving back at the base when I saw someone standing on top of it. Who is that? As I got closer, I could see it was the Red Hulk. Hey, what do you think you're doing here?
The Abomination knows what you're doing. There's only enough room for one big green guy in this world, and that's not you.
We'll see about that. We charged into the base, but were suddenly attacked by a group of red crabs. What the? Where did all of these guys come from? The crabs weren't very strong, but there were a lot of them. We were so distracted by the crabs, we didn't notice Red Hulk had snuck around the walls and into Tony's lab. We soon defeated all of the crabs, but there was one question on our minds. Where did Red Hulk go? We ran around the base and soon saw the house he had run into. He had managed to break into the lab. Tony quickly ran around to check if anything was stolen.
Bad news, big guy. The gamma radiation detector is gone.
Oh no, now Abomination will be able to find all the sources before me. There's no way I'll be able to beat him without it. Suddenly, I realized something else was missing too. The kids! We ran around the base and eventually saw them hiding under a desk. They were scared, but unharmed. It's okay, guys. It's safe now. Don't worry. I promise I will always protect you no matter what.
Now that everyone is safe, follow me. I can use my tracking abilities to find where the Red Hulk ran to.
Let's go! On days 63 to 66, Black Panther and I were tracking Red Hulk's path. Soon, I could see a large tower in the distance. That must be it. Hang back and I'll go take care of this. I made my way over to the tower and entered in. I was immediately attacked by a bunch of red crabs. Get your pincy pincers away from me! I managed to clear out all of the crabs on the ground floor and started running up the stairs. What a weird place to call home. As I reached the top, I saw Red Hulk was waiting for me.
I guess I should have gotten rid of that little cat man. But no matter, you'll never defeat me.
Bring it on! Red Hulk and I charged at each other, exchanging blows. It was a different fight entirely to be punching someone who was just as strong as me. You should be helping us. You are a Hulk after all.
Big deal. I'm here for the strongest, and that's never going to be you.
His hits were getting harder, and I was almost out of health. Suddenly, there was a flash of light, and Scarlet Witch appeared.
Someone needs to be taught a lesson.
Scarlet Witch started firing energy at Red Hulk, which had totally caught him off guard. We were winning! We may have been too confident though, because even though Scarlet Witch could fly, she got a little too close.
Gotcha!
Red Hulk landed a hit, knocking her out of the sky, down toward the ground. No, you'll pay for that! My blood began to boil, and I suddenly grew in size, becoming even stronger than before. I charged at the Red Hulk, smacking him again and again. He tried to fight back, but it was no use. Soon, he was defeated. I can't believe Scarlet Witch had to die. I'll never forget her. On the ground was the gamma radiation detector, which I happily picked up. I ran back down and out of the tower. Waiting on the other side was Black Panther and Scarlet Witch. What? I thought you were gone.
What do you mean? I thought you knew I could fly. You knocked me down, but I caught myself. It seemed like you had it from there.
Right, that makes sense. Well, I got stronger. Let's go. On day 67 to 70, we returned back to my base and got right to work building a place for the Scarlet Witch to stay. I was so happy to find out she survived the fight. That was way too close for comfort. I soon finished her place. Then I went on to build something for the kids. I couldn't believe Red Hulk Hulk was able to get into our base so easily. No wonder the kids were scared. If it had been the Abomination, things could have gotten much worse. Soon, I finished building them their very own playroom. My armor had taken a beating in the fights, so I went over to Tony to give him supplies to fix it up. He was happy to help, so I set off to work on the statue. I then headed outside to finish up the next part of the statue. I'm sure you've guessed what it is by now, a hamburger. It's definitely one of my favorite foods. What's yours? Soon, the next part of my burger was complete. On days 71 to 74, I was having a horrible dream. I'd finally found Abomination, but something was wrong. He kept getting bigger and bigger, while I kept getting smaller and smaller. I wasn't going to be able to beat him. I woke up in a cold sweat. Oh, what's going on, kids?
Sorry to wake you up, but we wanted to tell you thank you.
Yeah, even though the base was attacked, we've never felt safer. We know you'll always do what you can to protect us.
I assured them that would always be true. I believed myself when I said it, but I couldn't help but feel nervous about the fight ahead. On days 75 to 78, I felt more motivated than ever to get stronger in order to protect my friends. Alright, let's see where a boosted detector takes me this time. I followed the arrow and soon found myself back in the forest where I had been training with Black Panther. It led me to the summoning circle, which suddenly transported me to the Nether. Whoa, whoa! As I arrived, I saw tons of Mega Monsters who attacked. Jeez, all my friends really need to work on their portal management skills. These guys could have come through. I kept fighting and was able to get through the Mega Monsters. That's when I noticed there was some ancient debris nearby. Oh, excellent! I'll be able to upgrade my armor and tools to netherite with this. On days 79 to 84, I was still following my detector through the Nether. I could tell I was close. But before I could go much farther, Abomination came out of nowhere.
Well, thanks for being my guide. Looks like this is my stop.
Your guide? What?
Huh, all that muscle and so dumb. Didn't even realize I was following you this whole time. With this radiation, I'll finally be at my full form.
No! I charged at him, but even without his final form, he knocked me out of the way, no problem. I was in big trouble. He took off and went into the volcano. All I could do was watch as the volcano started to erupt. What did he do? Suddenly, a giant abomination came leaping from the volcano and landing right in front of me.
Now I am truly powered up. Your little adventure ends here.
I knew I didn't stand a chance in this fight, so all I could do is run. I turned as Abomination started chasing me through the Nether. I had no idea if I was going to get away.
Come back here, weakling. I'm going to crush you.
I ran and ran, but suddenly I came to a giant cliff.
Time to say goodbye.
Goodbye. I jumped. On days 85 to 89, I was still falling. After what felt like forever, I landed in a pool of water, in a jungle. How in the world did I get here? Suddenly, a crocodile came out of nowhere and attacked. It was just a few punches, and I took him out in no time. It felt good to be able to be on the winning end of a fight again. Alright, where am I? I've got to get back to the base. I took a look at the surrounding area and realized I wasn't far from my base. But thankfully, Abomination didn't follow me. I should be home in no time. As I arrived back at my base, I went to talk to Tony to tell him everything that had happened. So yeah, now I don't know how I'll be able to beat him.
Well, there might be one more gamma spot you could use. I didn't mention it before because it's pretty hard to get to.
Where do I need to go? I'll do whatever it takes.
It's deep inside of the earth. Give me some time to improve the detector, and I'll be able to lead you right to it.
There wasn't a whole lot for me to do but wait, so I decided to use the time to finish the hamburger statue. I know it was kind of a strange thing to build, but there was something about a giant hamburger that just gave me a sense of normalcy in this crazy world. Soon, the statue was complete. On days 90 to 94, I went to visit Black Panther. Alright, T'Challa, today's the day. I'm going to beat your obstacle course.
You are already strong enough, my friend. You don't need to prove anything on the obstacle course.
I have to prove it to myself. Besides, I want to win that item you mentioned.
Ah yes, the item. Go on then.
I ran to the course and got right to it. I could get all the strength and muscle in the world, but if I couldn't triumph a test of will, what good was it? The obstacle course was still as hard as ever, but my friends believed in me, and I had to win. Before I knew it, I had beaten the course. Yes, I did it!
Well done, well done. Here is your prize, as promised.
Black Panther tossed out a hammer. Is that Mjolnir? Thor's hammer? I picked it up. Wait, I picked it up.
It's just a replica. I may have made it sound cooler than it was going to be. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I actually really like it. It reminds me of my friend. If only he could be here too. That's when I had an idea. I headed over to the hamburger statue and started to make some adjustments. I decided to add a helmet and some arms. It wasn't my friend, but I was happy to have a reminder of him. I was admiring my statue when suddenly Thor appeared. Thor, what are you doing here? Well, I'm not really there. I'm just kind of there. But the real question is, why did you make me a hamburger? It's a long, hungry story. Don't worry about it. Sure. Say, we do sound a lot alike, don't we? Well, that's because I spent 100 days as you before. Oh yeah, that was awesome. Everyone should go watch that video next. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, good luck on your upcoming fight. I know you'll smash it. Nice, you're always so funny. Talk to you soon. Thor disappeared. Time to go check on that new detector. On days 95 to 97, I went to Tony's to see if he had finished the detector. As I entered, it looked like something was wrong. Tony, what's going on? Tony was floating in a water tank on life support. I took a look around and saw a note lying on the table. What was going on? Only thing that could give the detector enough juice was my arc reactor. I will hang out here till then. He's risking his life for me to find this. this. I can't let them down. Before I could leave, though, I had to go say goodbye to the kids. They thanked me for giving them a safe place to live and wished me luck in my battle against the abomination. As a final gesture, they gave me a piece of jewelry to remember them by. Now there's just one thing left to do. Using all of the ancient debris I had collected in the nether, I managed to make some netherite scraps. Then I used that to make some netherite ingots. Finally, I was able to upgrade all of my equipment to netherite. On day 98, I had reached the Badlands. The detector had been steady so far, so I knew I had to be getting close. Okay, it looks like this is the spot. Man, how deep do I need to go? Just then, there was a giant, scary bug, and he looked hungry. Buzz off, bug boy. The bug was a vicious little, well, big spider. I had never met something so determined to end me. The only way a bug could be this big has to be because of the radiation. I kept swinging my fists and was eventually able to knock him out. All right, let's level up for the last time. I stepped up to the radiation and nothing happened. What's going on? I'm not absorbing the radiation. That's when I realized I never was absorbing radiation to get bigger. Every time I had gotten bigger, it was because I was angry about a friend being in danger. I took a look at the locket the kids had given me. Inside of the locket was a picture of the kids with their now missing parents. The abomination has taken so much away from everyone I care about. I have to be stronger. I was so angry about it that I started to feel the power flowing into me, and I was about to grow bigger than ever before. On day 99, it came bursting from the ground in my final giant form. And look how many hearts I have. Time to find the abomination. That's when I noticed that the detector could find other gamma radiation users. Man, Tony thought of everything. I flicked the switch and saw it was pointing at me. Wait, that's not right. I flicked it again and it pointed another direction. Oh no, it's pointing to my base. I took off running. My friends were going to be in trouble. Back at the base, there was an explosion outside the walls. The kids hurried and ran under the desk for cover.
Here he comes, Wanda. Get ready.
Abomination came breaking through the wall as Scarlet Witch and Black Panther tried to hold him off. They were doing their best, but he was too strong. As I got closer to the base, I could see the fight was intense. I hurried and jumped in.
Nice of you to join us.
Couldn't let you guys have all the fun.
How about you two shut it and let me pound you into the ground?
We'll see about that. We continued to fight as the abomination exploded more and more of the base. We had to win, but he was too strong. He kept knocking us back. Suddenly, there was an explosion, and the side of the children's room exploded. Help! Oh, now you've got me really angry, and you won't like me when I'm angry. A surge of energy came into me, and I grew even bigger than I thought was possible. Hulk smash! I started swinging, punching the heck out of the abomination.
What? How? Where did this come from?
The abomination was really backing down now. I punched and punched. Then at long last, he was defeated. Goodbye for good. We took a moment to celebrate our victory. But wait, what about the children? We rushed over to the house and found the kids under the desk. Oh, thank goodness you're okay. They laughed and cried out of happiness. They gave me a hug and I started to calm down. As I calmed down, I shrunk back to a more normal size. The danger was gone. On day 100, we took time to rebuild the base. The danger was gone, but who knows when it would strike again. But when it did, we would be waiting, and we would be ready. On day 1, I spawned in as Iron Man. And look, I'm not a baby. I'm all powered up. I flew around firing lasers. This was really cool. These zombies have met their match. Time to say goodbye. I blasted the zombies out of the way. They were no match for the might of Iron Man. Once they were all destroyed, I was floating over the forest, scanning the area. Suddenly, something hit me out of nowhere. What was that? I didn't see who it was, but I heard a voice.
Say goodbye to your power.
I had hit the ground, but managed to survive. But look, now I only have 5 hearts. I had to hurry and leave the area though. Whoever that was could come back. Later, as I was escaping through the forest, a group of zombies came running up to me. I know how to handle these guys, but that was when I had my suit and powers. I didn't stand a chance now. I had no choice but to run away. I can't believe someone caught me off guard. They better watch out, because I'll stop at nothing to get my power back. But that was another day, so I settled in for the night. On day 2, I woke up all alone, still feeling weak without my powers. I had to figure out who was out to get me. I've got quite the mission ahead of me. I'm going to be building and making all kinds of really cool things. But before I can do that, I need to start with the basics. I went outside and got right to work punching trees. With the wood I had collected, I then made a crafting table. Using the crafting table and my leftover wood, I made myself some wooden tools, including a sword. Time to find some lunch. I went outside and soon came across a rabbit. That's going to have to do for now. I chased it down and got its meat. I might be trapped in the wilderness with no powers, but that doesn't mean I have to eat raw meat. As I took a look around, I soon came across a village. In the middle of the village was a campfire. Let's get cooking. I laid down my rabbit meat and let it sizzle. Soon, I had some cooked meat. I took a bite and was feeling much better. Suddenly, I realized what kind of village it was. It was a pillager village. Uh-oh, time to run. Pillagers chased me, but I managed to get away without losing my life. Later that evening, I took the simple supplies I had collected to start making myself a house to stay in. If those pillagers found me, at least I would have some walls to protect me. Soon, the hut was complete, and I settled in for the night. On day 3, I awoke to a knock on the door. Who could that be? I opened the door and saw it was Captain America. Or well, I guess it was just Steve Rogers. He wasn't looking so good. Steve Steve, what's wrong? You're not looking like your normal fit self.
I was worried something had happened to you. I see now I was right. Your friend Ironmonger is to blame for this. I was minding my own business when he suddenly came out of nowhere. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to take away all of my powers. We might not be strong enough to help him right now, but we need to hurry and warn the others he's coming for him.
That's a good point. Let's stick together while we figure this out. Steve agreed, and so we figured it would be good to start building a proper base. We did some scouting around and soon found a nice cliffside that would work perfect. I didn't have my powers, but I could still get shipments of stuff sent to me. After a bit, an express delivery with all the supplies we'd need showed up, and we got to work. Building a house on a cliff like this reminded me of my mansion in Malibu. It wasn't going to be quite like that, but I was hoping to eventually make something just as impressive. Soon, the beginning of our base was complete. Thanks for your help, Pete. We'll let you know if anything else comes up. On days 4 to 5, Steve came over to talk. He wanted to know if I knew where any other superheroes were. Sorry, buddy, I don't. I really wish I did, though.
Well, you're a pretty smart guy, right? Is there something you could invent?
I thought it was a good question, but nothing came to mind. I stared at my empty crafting table when suddenly I had an idea. Oh wait, maybe that could work. I headed out to the caves to gather the materials I would need. If I could just get everything I would need, this special item would be the perfect solution to our problem. By the time I had made it into the deepest part of the cave, I had already managed to make myself some iron gear. It was about to come in handy as I was suddenly attacked by a bunch of magma cubes. Alright, boxheads, you're just what I was looking for. I swung my sword and managed to take a few of them out. As they disappeared, they dropped some charged coal. Once the threat was taken care of, I also found some nearby palladium, which I happily mined up. Alright, that's everything I'm going to need. Let's make this special item. I soon arrived back at the house and got right to it, smelting down the palladium into ingots. I also needed a compass, which Steve gave to me. At long last, the final pieces were starting to come together. I went to the crafting table and used the palladium, charged coal, and compass to make my special item, a superhero radar. Sure hope this works. Steve and I headed into another room, and I set the radar down in the center. I placed a lever on the wall and flipped it. The radar started to make a sound, and a purple line came out of it. That line is pointing us to a nearby superhero. Now we can help them. On day 6 to 8, I checked the radar again to get a clear direction of where to go. I told Steve to hang back at the base and keep an eye on the radar, just in case anyone else popped up on it. Let's go see who it's gonna be. I left the base and ran off in the direction the radar had indicated. Hopefully I could get to them in time. After a bit of traveling, I soon reached a village, but it looked like the place was abandoned. Hello? Is there anyone here?
Thought it was you stomping around.
Black Widow had come out of nowhere. Natasha, I can't believe I found you. There's no time to explain, but I need you to come with me.
Listen, I don't trust anyone that much, even you. You're gonna have to give me some kind of explanation.
Okay, Steve is back at my base, and you see neither of us have our powers anymore. So we've got to hurry to get out of here, or the same will happen to you.
Don't have your powers? Who or what did that to you?
Ironmonger! It was an answer to her question, but also an exclamation. He had popped up out of nowhere. Black Widow had sprung into action, trying to fight him off. I was still too weak though, and had to run away. Hang in there, Natasha. They continued to fight, but it was no use. Ironmonger was too quick, and managed to hit her with a special gun. He had taken away all of her special abilities.
Huh. I don't know what you two are up to, but knock it off. Go live normal lives like the ordinary people you are.
Before he could do us any more harm, we ran away. I couldn't believe he was able to do it again. On days 9 to 10, Black Widow and I arrived back at the base. We met up with Steve.
Natasha, it's good to see you. Wait, did something happen?
It was Ironmonger. I had gotten there in time, but he showed up and was able to steal her power.
Oh no, did you see where he went?
No, we had to get out of there. I hate this feeling. I've never felt so useless.
It's okay. Keep your head on straight.
I need some time to clear my head. I decided to get to work, building Natasha her own place to stay at the base. It was good to have a project to keep my mind busy. I couldn't believe I was beaten by my own friend. Soon, Natasha's room was complete. On days 11 to 12, I went to check the machine and saw there was a new signal, but this time it was different.
What is it? What does it mean?
Not 100% sure. It's a new invention that even I don't understand completely.
Well, if it's pointing to a friendly, it's worth a shot trying to save him.
Yeah, I'm not so sure, Cap. What good are we as rescuers if we can't really rescue someone? Ironmonger is just going to show up again.
You don't know that. And come on, you know there's more to this than just being the strongest.
That's certainly something coming from you. I'll see what I can find. I left the base and headed in the direction the radar was pointing. As I looked around, I felt like I wasn't seeing anything. That's when I realized I was back at the place I had crashed on day 1. Suddenly, I noticed something nearby on the ground. I picked it up. Jarvis, is that you? What are you doing out here, buddy?
Hello, sir. I'm delighted to see you have found me.
So am I. How are you?
I am here, but I am damaged. I am sorry for the loss you have suffered.
So am I, buddy. But hey, do you think you can help? You've got all that information from my suit stored in your memory, don't you?
I do, or rather I believe I do. My memory banks have been damaged, but it seems plausible they can be recovered. We will need to find the correct materials in order to recover it.
Sure, we can do that. I built a suit once, I can surely do it again. What's on that materials list of yours? Jarvis gave me the list of what I needed, and I headed off, right away. On days 13 to 15, I arrived at some caves, and headed on in to gather up the materials Jarvis had mentioned. First, I gathered up a bunch of iron, which was one of the main things items I would need. Then I found some titanium, which was also going to come in handy. Alright, that should be everything I need from here. I then left the cave and found myself in a herd of cows. I took some of the cows out in order to get some leather. That was all the ingredients I was going to need. Time to get back to the base. On days 16 to 19, I made it back to the base and went into my garage. It was crafting time. I put the iron in the furnace and started smelting iron ingots. Then it was titanium's turn, which started smelting into titanium ingots. While the ores were smelting, I then opened a nearby chest and grabbed some glass I had. Then at the crafting table, I added the glass to some iron and palladium to make myself a new arc reactor. At last, power! With my new palladium arc reactor, I could start to put together a new suit. I grabbed the ingots I needed out of the furnace, then used iron, titanium, leather, and the arc reactor to make myself a chest plate. Oh yeah, here we go. With the chest plate finished, I then used the rest of my materials and made the leggings, boots, and of course, the helmet. This isn't the best suit I've ever made. In fact, it's just as good as the first one I built in a cave in the desert, but it'll be better than having nothing.
Hey, what have we got here?
Steve and Natasha had walked into the garage.
You built a new suit. It's gonna be so good for you. How did you pull it off?
It was with the help of Jarvis. I found him at the crash site. His memory is damaged, but he remembered enough to help me build the suit.
Think that's a good idea?
Do you think it's not?
No, it's great. It's just that you said Jarvis was damaged. I'd hate to see something go wrong.
I assured him that Jarvis was working well enough to help me make the suits again without putting any of us in danger. That seemed like an excuse though. Steve was probably just jealous I was getting my powers back and he wasn't. Before I could say anything else though, Natasha mentioned that she and Steve had gotten more food and stored it in the kitchen. All that crafting had made me hungry. I went over there to cook up some steak. This is going to be much better than Wild Rabbit, that's for sure. When the steak was ready, I scarfed it down. Delicious! I then went and started to make some more upgrades to the base. I was a man of luxury, so I decided the house needed a swimming pool. I picked a good spot and got the thing installed. All this building has given me an idea for one more big project. I headed out and got to work building a statue. These were dark times, and there was always one thing that could be a light in the darkness. Let me know what you think I'm building. Soon, the first part was complete. On days 20 to 22, I heard a notification go off on the radar, telling me another superhero had been found. I went and told Steve and Natasha the good news. They both wanted to come with to find who it was, but I told them it might be good for just me to go, given that I was the only one who had regained any of my power. As I put my suit on, I saw my health increase to 8 hearts. I was also stronger and had a flamethrower attack. It was time to help our fellow superhero. As I got closer to the place the radar was pointing me to, I saw a large tower in the middle of the forest. I knew just who I would find inside. As I reached the top, I could see Doctor Strange was there. Steven, be on your guard. Ironmonger is running around stealing everyone's power.
What?
He immediately got ready to fight. It was just in time too, as Ironmonger came flying over, firing down on us.
The good doctor. I think you've got just what I'm looking for.
Doctor Strange was ready though, and he started to put up a good fight. Ironmonger was going to have a much harder fight this time. I may have spoke too soon though, as Ironmonger managed to land a hard hit, knocking out Doctor Strange. Ironmonger lifted his weapon and started draining Doctor Strange's power. I had to do something. Oh no you don't. Even though I wasn't super strong, I charged in and managed to stop Ironmonger from taking all the power. Problem was, he was now focused on me. Doctor Strange was back in the fight though, and together we put up a good fight. In the end, we managed to hurt Ironmonger enough that he backed down.
This isn't the last you've seen of me.
He flew off. Steven, are you okay?
I still have some of my powers, but I'm definitely weaker than before. I need to go rest.
Doctor Strange opened a portal and walked through it. Well, that was a quick exit, but at least we could stop him from losing everything. I better get back to the base and see who else we can help. On days 23 to 26, I was on my way back to the base when Jarvis piped up with some helpful information.
Sir, my sensors are indicating a lot of silver nearby. I think that could help.
Jarvis then told me what direction to go, and I headed there right away. As I arrived at the location he was sending me to, I didn't see anything. Are you sure this is the right place? There doesn't seem to be anything here.
The silver may be beneath something, but I am 99% sure it is here.
Well, guess I better start breaking blocks. I started breaking things as I looked around and soon saw an entrance to a dungeon. What is this all about? As I went deeper into the dungeon, I ran into a bunch of piglins. You piggies better watch out. That's when I noticed that they had all kinds of materials stored down here. I hope you guys don't mind if I use some of this stuff. As I fought my way through the gang of piglins, I noticed that they dropped silver ingots.
There, sir. The silver I was detecting.
I happily picked the silver up and continued to fight the piglins. There were hoglins around as well, and they were a tough challenge. But I was up for the fight and soon made it to the dungeon's boss, a piglin brute with armor. You look strong, but I'm stronger. It turned out I was right. The piglin brute was really strong after all. He knocked me back, but I stayed in the fight. He wasn't going to get the better of me. After a long fight, I finally took him out. He didn't drop anything. But look, a chest. I went over to the chest, which was filled with silver. This should be more than enough. I hurried back out of the cave. On days 27 to 31, I arrived back at my base. I met back up with the team to tell them the good news. Guys, I was able to find Doctor Strange, and together we were able to fight off Ironmonger. Doctor Strange was weakened, but he was able to keep his powers. Everyone was really excited to hear the good news and couldn't believe Ironmonger had shown up again. Everyone, that is, except Steve.
He kept his powers, huh? Well, good for him, I guess.
I didn't know why Steve wasn't excited like everyone else. He really must be jealous someone else got to keep their powers. I left the room and went to work on a new set of armor. With all the new silver I'd collected, I was going to be able to build an even better suit. I took my time making each set, and soon I had a full set of Iron Man Mark II armor. Oh yeah, now this is what I'm talking about. With my new suit on, I noticed I had more health than before. I still couldn't fly yet, but I could jump a little higher and felt stronger too. I showed it off to the gang, and everyone was really impressed. If I kept finding more materials, I would be back to full strength in no time. I had to find more materials. On days 32 to 35, I decided to see what else Jarvis could find for me. I'm thinking of adding some more weapons to the suit. What do you think it can handle?
Scans show it is not strong enough to handle your repulsor cannon, but there is something else that might work. We'll have to travel far away, but I believe it will be worth it.
Show me the way. Jarvis explained the way to go, and eventually we made it to an entirely new biome. Alright, Jarvis, what direction?
Down, sir.
It looked like it was time to dig. I think I knew what he had in mind. I kept digging and soon made it into a magma chamber. Let me guess, we need some lava.
No, sir. We're searching for a very specific mob. It should be here.
I started to explore. Could you tell me what I'm looking for? Just then, I almost ran into a monster. It was a mutant blaze. Yikes! Thanks for the warning.
Sorry, sir, but my sensors aren't quite as sharp down here.
The mutant blaze's fire attacks were strong, but my new armor was doing its job. I was taking much less damage than I normally would have. I'm gonna put you out, Firehead. I kept on swinging, and at long last, defeated the blaze. As he disappeared, I saw he had dropped a blaze core.
The blaze core. That is just what we need, sir.
On days 36 to 39, I made it out of the hole and headed back towards the base. As I arrived back at the base, I went to the crafting area and got right to work on the new suit attachment. Using the blaze core, I was able to make myself a flamethrower. Oh yeah, I'm starting to heat up now. I called the others over and showed them my new toy.
Whoa, that new flamethrower is so hot right now.
Natasha was really excited about it, but Steve less so. No surprise there, he was just jealous. On days 40 to 43, I heard the power detector going off again. It must have found another superhero. Maybe with my new gear, I can even defeat Ironmonger this time. I let the others know that I would head out by myself again. Until they could get their powers, it just didn't make sense to put them in harm's way. I would handle everything. I set off in search of the superhero, and soon found myself in a thick forest. Hello? Is there anyone around here? I kept shouting and looking around, but couldn't find anyone. All I saw were a bunch of bats flying around. Suddenly, they attacked me. What the? Get away from me! Using my new attacks, I managed to fight off the bats, but then I was attacked by some wolves. This forest is crazy! What's going on around here? The wolves snapped their teeth and swung their claws, but I was able to keep them away and knock them out. I still don't see anyone, but it's starting to get late. I better build a shelter for the night. I soon found a nice clearing and got right to work building a shelter. After a bit, my camp was set up. Time to get some sleep. I'll keep looking in the morning. On days 44 to 49, I woke up in the middle of the night to a rumbling sound. What was that? I ran outside and saw there was a huge castle that had appeared out of nowhere. Well, nothing else to do but take a look. I ran into the castle and was suddenly attacked by a whole bunch of spooky mobs. There were bats and all kinds of skeleton creatures. I had to fight for my life. Back off, you undead creatures. You'll never take me alive. I kept fighting my way through the castle until finally I saw something different than the mobs. It was Blade. Blade, what are you doing here?
What are you doing here? I've tracked a vampire to this castle and I'm so close to finally beating him.
I've come to warn you. Ironmonger is going around stealing power from superheroes. You've got to get out of here.
Thanks for the warning, but I've come too far to quit. I don't see Ironmonger anywhere, so I think I have time to finish my mission.
Well, let me help. Together we can get it done even faster. We soon noticed a coffin and walked up to it to take a look. We opened it, but it was a trap.
Oh no, what is this? I can't move.
Me either. Jarvis, clear this gas out of my suit. Jarvis got right to work, but he wasn't quick enough. Ironmonger had shown up.
Huh, stay still. This won't hurt at all.
Ironmonger used a special item and was able to take away Blade's powers. Jarvis had just cleared the gas from my suit though, and I was ready to fight.
I thought I told you to keep out of this.
Ironmonger didn't stick around to fight me, but instead released the vampire before flying away. Without his powers, Blade was in for a real fight. Come on, Blade, I'll help you. Blade and I got to work swinging at the vampire. Even without his powers, Blade was a good fighter, getting lots of hits in. He wasn't good enough though, and the vampire was able to really hurt him. You'll pay for that! I started attacking him even more than before and could tell I was starting to win. When he was at his weakest, Blade jumped forward and knocked him out with a stake for good.
Thanks for your help. I couldn't have done this without you. Here, take this stake. You never know when it could come in handy.
Thanks. I'll be sure to keep it close. I'm sorry about your powers. How about you come back to my base with me and we can figure this out?
That sounds like just what I need right now.
On days 50 to 53, Blade and I returned to the base. Then we met up with Natasha and told her what had happened.
I'm sorry to hear it didn't work out this time. It sounds like he's getting smarter.
I'm sorry too. But hey, where's Steve?
Oh, he said he had some errands to run and left. He didn't tell me what those errands were.
That's odd. Just then, Steve came back to the base.
Sorry about that. I was just collecting some more materials to upgrade the base. I thought you could use some new materials for our new guest.
That was a fair point. He was right, too. Blade needed a place to stay. Using some of the materials Steve had gathered, I was able to put together a room for Blade. Steve had also mentioned wanting a training room, so I got to work on that. Just because they had lost their powers didn't mean they couldn't stay in shape. Soon, everything was complete. On days 54 to 57, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. I decided I needed to talk to Natasha in private. Hey, I wanted to ask, has Steve been acting strange to you?
Now that you mention it, he has. I haven't seen him do anything strange specifically, but he doesn't seem like he's been his normal self. I usually try and let people just do their own thing.
You see, the thing is, Ironmonger always seems to show up right around the same time I do. I'm not saying Steve is somehow tipping him off, but I want to be sure he's not involved.
Say no more. The next time you guys go, I'll keep an eye on him. That would be strange, but we'll feel better if we can rule it out.
Thanks, Nat. I appreciate it. I then reached out to Jarvis to help with the next stage of rigging up the superpower detector. If Steve was really tricking us, I needed to get the super detector to trick him. Jarvis said he knew what I needed to get, but there were some special items I needed to collect first. Let's get exploring. On days 58 to 62, Jarvis led me to a cave that was filled with spiders. I was pretty strong at this point, and these spiders were no match for me. I easily knocked them out of the way. Aha! There's the gold ore you wanted me to get. I quickly mined up all the gold I needed, then hurried back to the base. There, I crafted some special wiring out of gold and took it to the superpower detector. After I attached the new wiring, the detector started to go off. Everyone came running into the room. The detector found another super. Hang tight, guys. I'll go get them and help them out. Everyone agreed, and as I went to leave, I gave Natasha a nod to let her know the plan was on. She nodded back. I soon reached a mountaintop where the detector was pointing me to. Of course, no one was here, but I needed to put on a good show. Oh, hey Thor, I can't believe you're here. Just then, Ironmonger popped out.
Aha! Huh?
I was ready for him and gave him a good hit.
What the? There's no Thor here. I can't believe I've been betrayed and tricked like this.
What do you mean betrayed? How did you know I would be here?
I've said too much.
Ironmonger flew away. Something was definitely going on. I hurried back to the base. As I arrived, I could see Natasha was waiting for me.
You're not gonna believe this.
What happened?
After you left, I followed Steve just like you asked. Once he had gotten far enough away from the base, I saw him pull out a communication device. I got close enough to hear who he was talking to. It was Ironmonger.
You're right, I can't believe this. We've got to confront him right away. On days 63 to 66, I headed into the base to find Steve. I soon found him.
Hey, you weren't gone for very long. Did you find anyone?
There was no one there, but you probably already knew that.
What do you mean? How could I have known that?
Because you've been in contact with your friend, Ironmonger. Give it up, Steve. We know.
You don't know anything.
Just then, Steve started to transform. Suddenly, Steve was gone, and Mandarin was standing there. Mandarin! So it's been you all along. I should have known it was someone evil trying to trick us.
Well, you just aren't very smart, are you? You've been leading us to superheroes this entire time.
What do you want with us?
I've been absorbing all of the powers. Soon, you'll be unable to stop me. I was hoping I could wait for you to build another supersuit so I could steal its powers too, but no matter. You'd never stop me.
I leapt forward to attack him, but he was right. He was really strong. He knocked me out of the way and was able to escape. He wasn't fully powered up yet, but if he was this strong already, we were going to be in real trouble. On days 67 to 70, I went to talk to Natasha and Blade. I couldn't believe I had been tricked. I apologized to them for leading Mandarin right to them.
Don't worry about it. You were trying your best. Now that we know who we're really up against, we have a better chance of stopping him.
Thanks, Nat. I appreciate the support. And speaking of support, I appreciate all of you watching too. After this video, search for more Zozo. Z-O-Z-O.
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I've managed to repair my memory banks and unlocked a new design for another part of the suit.
Oh, that's great news. What do we need to build it?
It looks like we'll be needing some diamonds, but I'm not detecting any on my scanner.
You need diamonds? I haven't seen any underground, but while I was tracking the vampire, I stayed in a village full of them. I'll tell you where to go.
Blade explained where the village was, and I set off to find it. I soon arrived and saw that Blade wasn't lying. There were diamonds everywhere here. The villagers had all kinds of diamond tools and armor. Hey there, nice armor. Do you guys have any extra diamonds you could spare?
I might have some, but I can't just give you them for free.
That's understandable. How much do they cost?
You know, we've had quite a bit of a problem here, and if you can solve that problem, I'll give you everything we can spare.
Sounds like it must be a pretty big problem then.
Yeah, there's a monster that has started living in our diamond mine, and we haven't been able to go in there for weeks. Take care of that monster for us, and we'll give you our spare diamonds.
Okay, I'll do it. Tell me where to go. On day 71 to 74, I arrived at the diamond mine, but the place looked abandoned. I guess the monster really cleared this place out. Better see what I can find. I went into the cave but didn't see any diamonds. I didn't see anything for that matter. The place was super dark. As I went deeper into the mine, I placed torches to help me see. The mine kept going deeper and deeper. I was starting to wonder if it would ever end. At long last, I reached what seemed to be the final room. There's nothing here. Maybe the monster left or something. Just then, I noticed that the torches I had placed along the wall were starting to go out. One by one they broke, getting closer and closer to me. Suddenly, the vampire from before appeared. What? I thought we defeated you. The vampire smirked and then attacked. He was even stronger than before, and this time he had some tricks up his sleeve too. He burst into a ball of smoke, summoning a group of bats. What in the world? This is crazy! The vampire had disappeared. I had to defeat these bats. I ran around trying to cut down as many as I could. Suddenly, I felt a hit. The vampire had reappeared. Get out of here, Dracula! I still couldn't believe this guy was still around, but I guess it's true. Vampires can never really be defeated. That's when I remembered. The stake! The vampire was getting weak now, and it was time to finish him off. I grabbed my stake and hit him, finishing him off. He would be back eventually, but at least I could get my diamonds in the meantime. I hurried back into the village and met up with the villager. It's done! The monster is gone! Now let's see about those diamonds.
Amazing, you saved us. Here, you can have everything we have to spare.
The villager tossed out a single diamond. I gave him a look. I thought you said you were going to give me all the diamonds you have to spare.
I did. We only have one diamond to spare.
Jarvis piped up.
That should be all we need, sir.
Thanks. Well, here, you guys might need this. I tossed him the stake and headed off, back to the base. On days 75 to 78, I arrived back at the base. It was time to make what Jarvis had remembered. As I went to the crafting table, Jarvis told me what I needed to do to craft a new repulsor. It wasn't my full suit, but at least it was a stronger weapon than before. Just then, Natasha came into the room.
You've got your repulsor up and running? That's great.
Yeah, problem is, I don't know where to go to find Ironmonger or Mandarin.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. When I heard Steve, or I guess Mandarin, talking to Ironmonger, I thought I could hear some machines in the background.
Blade came into the room.
Machines. There's a factory not too far from here. Maybe he's hiding out in there.
It's worth a shot. I'm not sure where else to look. They all agreed, and I decided that before I would leave, I would go ahead and finish the statue. It took a lot of hard work to get it done, but I soon had it all finished in no time. So what do you guys think? Did you guess what it was correctly? On days 79 to 84, I soon arrived at the factory Blade had told me about. I'm not sure if this is right, but we'll find out. As I got closer, I was suddenly attacked by a group of zombies. If there were zombies around here, there was a good chance Ironmonger or Mandarin were around too. I managed to fight through the wave, but avoided using my repulsor. In case Ironmonger was watching, I didn't want him to know I had it. Soon, all of the zombies were defeated. On days 85 to 89, I entered into the base. That's when I saw Ironmonger standing amongst a bunch of zombies trapped in cases of liquid. What are you doing?
I knew you would show up here eventually. I'm doing what needs to be done. You superheroes think you can just do whatever you want. Zombies can be controlled, so I'm taking your powers and giving them to them. Then I will control all the powers on Earth.
Oh, I see. You don't want to stop superpowers. You just want to be in charge of them yourself. I won't let you get away with this.
Huh. You've been trying to stop me this entire time and have never beat me. Today, I will finish you for good.
We'll see about that. Ironmonger flew up in the air as a door opened, letting zombies into the room. There were a ton of them. Uh-oh, I better take care of these first. I ran around the room trying to take out as many zombies as I could. This was a tough fight with so many things going on at once. I had to defeat Ironmonger though. My friends were going to need all of their powers back. Where is Mandarin hiding?
You'll never find him, because you'll never leave here.
Ironmonger and I were now fighting each other directly, and it was getting intense. He hadn't expected all of my upgrades though, and I was really hurting him.
How did you get so strong? I thought I took everything away from you.
A suit isn't a brain, and that's what's going to defeat you. I fired my repulsor at him and took him out for good. As he disappeared, I saw he had dropped some unique parts, which I picked up.
Sir, we can use these materials to remake your strongest suit.
Yes, now we just need to find Mandarin and get everyone's powers back. Let's do this. On days 90 to 94, I made it back to the base. I ran right over to Natasha and Blade to tell them the good news. I was able to defeat Ironmonger. The bad news is that he was trying to inject zombies with your powers.
That's horrible. It's a good thing you beat him, though.
Speaking of, any way to get our powers back?
Before I left, I saw he had some kind of machine that must be storing your powers. If you guys go there, you may be able to get them back.
Right on. Thanks for all of your help.
You've got it. Now I've got to get to work returning to my final form. I rushed over to the garage as the others set off for the factory. Using the materials Ironmonger had dropped, I got to work building my final Mark III version of my armor. After a lot of hard work, my armor was restored. Yes, it's going to feel so good to fly again. I ran up the stairs of the house and over to a balcony. Here we go. I jumped off and nothing happened. I landed in the water below. Jarvis, what's going on?
Sorry, sir, but while your suit has been restored, the flying capabilities still need some repairs.
Don't you think you could have told me that before I jumped off the cliff?
My apologies, sir.
It's okay. No harm done. Now, where do we need to go? On days 95 to 97, Jarvis instructed me that we would be heading to the Nether, so I got to work building a Nether portal. I hadn't been able to get a diamond pickaxe, so I had to get creative. By using lava and some water, I managed to fashion a Nether portal together. It took a bit to get it all done, but soon I had my own Nether portal ready to go. All right, Jarvis, show me the way. I stepped into the portal and soon found myself in the Nether. This place always gives me the creeps. Let's make this quick. There was some quartz nearby, so I quickly ran over to it and mined it up. Luckily, that was all I needed, so with my pockets full, I jumped back into the portal. Back in the garage, I got right to work, crafting the flight module. It didn't take too long, and soon it was all complete. I walked back towards the cliff, jumped off, and it worked. Yahoo! I'm a flying man once again. I took some time flying around, feeling good that I was finally powered up. Just then, Jarvis delivered some interesting news.
Sir, the superhero detector at the base is going off. The signals are off the charts.
I hurried back to the base and went into the detector room. The machine was going crazy. The signal is way too strong for it to be Natasha and Blade getting their powers back. Mandarin must be up to something. It was time to take him down. On day 98, I headed off in the direction the detector was pointing. Not too much later, I saw a giant base rising out of the ground. This has to be Mandarin's base. Just then, I was attacked by a bunch of zombies. Oh no, he must be trying to do the same thing Ironmonger was. I've got to get to him, and quick. I was so strong that I knocked the zombies out of the way, no problem. But there was still a lot of them. I also couldn't help but notice some of them were stronger than others. I had to hurry and get to the top. Out of the way, zombros. I kept firing my repulsor cannon until at long last, all of the zombies were defeated. I ran over to the stairs and started heading up to the top. As I got close, I passed a sign in the distance. Oh, subscribe! You should do that right now. And once this adventure is over, go look up some more of my other ones. Just search Zozo, Z-O-Z-O, to find them. On day 99, I reached the top of the tower and saw Mandarin floating in the sky. Wait, how are you floating?
Impressive, isn't it? You're too late. I've absorbed your friend's powers, and now you'll never be able to defeat me.
No, I don't believe it. I'm going to knock their powers out of you.
Bring it on, rich boy.
Mandarin started firing energy blasts at me, causing some big explosions. I returned fire, launching attacks with my repulsor cannon. I had to be careful though. Getting caught in those explosions really hurt.
The time of the superheroes is over, and the time of the supervillain has begun.
I managed to get a hit in with my repulsor, which stopped his monologue. But suddenly, a bunch of yellow smoke appeared, and Mandarin was gone. Where did he go?
Looking for me?
Mandarin reappeared, launching more energy blasts. He could teleport now. This wasn't looking good. I had started to fly around, but this was tough. I was hanging in there, but I didn't know how long I could last.
What's wrong? Am I too strong? Let me make this easier for you and finish this.
There was another plume of yellow smoke, and Mandarin copied himself. I was getting attacked from all sides. Oh no, he's too strong. I was taking out some of his clones, but there was no way I could keep this up. I finally took out the clones, but took a heavy hit. One more hit, and it was all done for me. I removed my mask.
I'm going to enjoy this. You have been a thorn in my side for too long.
Suddenly, a portal opened, and all of my friends came running through, including Doctor Strange and Captain America.
Thought I ought to pay you back. This guy stole my face. That's America's face, not his.
We were able to get our powers back.
All thanks to you. Now let's return the favor.
Well, aren't we all just one big happy family? Well, you're too late. I'm not just as strong as all of you. I'm stronger.
Mandarin cloned himself again, and we all started to fight. It was on now. He was still strong, but there was no way he could take us all down, because even though we might be equal in power, we had something he didn't. Friendship.
No, it can't be. How can I be losing?
We had defeated all of his clones and surrounded him in the center of the platform. Well, thanks for playing. Tell Ironmonger we say hello.
No!
I blasted him with my repulsor, destroying him for good. My friends and I all gathered together. Steve, I was wondering what had happened to you. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, the doctor here came and found me. By the time we met up with the other two, they had just gotten their powers. We came here right away.
Just in time, too. Suddenly, another portal opened, and Hulk came through. Wait a second, this isn't where I was trying to go. Where's Abomination? Uh-oh, that Hulk sounds like me. Looks like me from another video somehow wound up here. Can you help him get back? After this video is over, go watch my Hulk video. On day 100, we had all arrived back at the base. The world was safe once again, and everyone had their powers. But we would stay vigilant and keep an eye out. You never know when trouble could strike again. On day 1, I spawned into the jungle as Ant-Man, everyone's favorite size-shifting superhero. Whoa, this is awesome! I've always wanted to be able to shrink down really tiny. Hold on a minute, why is my suit not working? Darn it, I must be out of Pym particles. I wasn't sure how I managed to get here or where here even was. Everything around me looked like it was normal, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Why isn't my shrinking tech working? Maybe there's something I can do to fix it. Just then, I heard the crawling of a lot of legs and turned around to see a spider. It was huge, way bigger than any I had ever seen before. Something weird was definitely going on here. Whoa, aren't you a little big? Then there came the horrible noise of something whirring loudly, and it was coming closer and closer. I could see a huge, vicious-looking creature coming straight towards me. It looked like a huge head with much smaller arms.
Well, isn't that the question of the day? Are you sure it's not you who's a little smaller than normal?
That is a good question. I suppose I don't feel any smaller than I normally do, but then, if I was, how would I know?
Why don't I save you the trouble then? You are indeed much smaller than normal, and it was by my hand that you were shrunk down to a more manageable size.
Hey, that hardly seems fair. You can't just go around shrinking people. Who the heck are you anyway?
I am MODOK. Cower before me, Zozo, for you're trapped here in my miniverse.
Miniverse? Oh no, like a tiny universe?
Precisely. Here, I'm in charge. Nothing is its normal size, and now you're trapped here. But let's give you a challenge, shall we? If you can make it out of the miniverse within 100 days, I'll let you go free. But if not, then you'll be trapped in my tiny world forever. And you think getting out will be easy? Think again!
Suddenly, MODOK unleashed a blast of energy that burned the huge spider to a crisp. I had to get to cover so I didn't get blasted too, but it was too late for the poor spider. Yeesh, talk about having a big head. On day 2, I tried to find my way out of this crazy jungle I was in. The trees were so dense that I could hardly see a clear path in front of me. On top of that, I realized I only had 5 hearts, so I had to be careful. If I ran into MODOK again, or any other dangers in his miniverse, then I'd be in serious trouble. Just then, I overheard a loud, angry buzzing sound. When I followed it, I stumbled across a group of enormous tarantula hawks. They were way bigger than normal insects, just like the spider had been. Oh man, these are some nasty looking bugs. Maybe I can communicate with them.
Well, look what's buzzing, my bug bros. A lost little superhero with no powers. This is the one Master MODOK trapped here. Come on, let's get him. Destroying him will win us a lot of points with our master.
They attacked me. I quickly noticed I had a bow in my inventory and used it to try and fend them off. But at my size, I wasn't able to do much damage at all. Plus, I was outnumbered. No, I can't die. Not yet. I still have to find my way out of this miniverse. But then, right as I needed help, someone came rushing out of the trees and fended off the tarantula hawks. It looked like it had the body of a bee, but with huge arms and legs like a person. What the heck was going on in this place?
Hey, are you all right? You should really be careful out here.
Thanks for saving me. What's your name?
You can call me Harlow, the honey golem. What's yours?
Well, technically, I'm meant to be Ant-Man, but I don't have any powers, so I guess I'm just Zozo. On day 3, Harlow brought me to his hive, where there were even more honey golems just like him. They were living in a cave and had built themselves an entire community underground. Wow, I've never met any honey golems before.
We were created in one of MODOK's experiments. That big head of his houses a pretty big brain. He's been using this miniverse to perform all kinds of crazy experiments on the innocent insects and creatures here. We started out like normal bumblebees, but now we're monsters.
Hey, I don't think you're monsters. You saved me from those mean tarantula hawks. Harlow explained that MODOK had been causing havoc all over the miniverse with his mad scientist experiments. I told him that I needed to find my way out of there before my 100 days were over.
You need to get out of here, I understand, but you're going to need some help if you have any chance of escaping the miniverse. So how about I tag along to assist you?
Wow, thank you so much, Harlow. But wait, how are you gonna help me get out of here?
Well, let me cut you a deal. You want to be freed from the miniverse, and I want the miniverse to be free from MODOK. So, how about we team up? I'll come with you. It can be dangerous, but I know my way around, so I can navigate and provide protection. And in return, you can build up your strength so we can stop MODOK's schemes. Once that's done, I'm sure we'll find a way to get you out of here. What do you say?
Okay, sure. If we can take down that big-headed bad guy and get me out of here, then that would be amazing.
Then we better get to it. MODOK is ruthless, and he's left plenty of his experiments running wild out there. They'll do anything he wants.
So Harlow and I headed out as a team. On days 4 through 5, we made a start on gathering some resources and building up my strength for the fight ahead. I punched some trees and gathered enough wood to make a crafting bench. Afterwards, I made myself a set of wooden tools. Then, Harlow showed me a cave where I could mine for cobblestone, and then I used that to craft a set of stone tools as quickly as possible. Harlow and I then explored a bit and eventually found a spot where we could build our base on. We were pretty far from the Honey Golem's underground city, so I built a room for both Harlow and I to stay in using the materials I had been gathering. It's not exactly the Avengers Tower or the Baxter Building, but it's a start at least. Hopefully, we won't have any trouble from MODOK and his experiments bothering us while we're here. Just as I had finished up, Harlow brought some food that he'd managed to find for us. He wasn't kidding. He really knew his way around the miniverse. I ate some, and when I did, I quickly gained 10 hearts for a total of 15 hearts.
Look at that! You got a little bigger too.
At this rate, I'll be tough enough to take on MODOK in no time.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet, but I'm sure you'll get your chance soon.
With our new base already, night was beginning to fall, so Harlow and I settled in for some much-needed sleep. On days 6 through 8, Harlow and I went exploring, searching for some more materials to craft new items and maybe even upgrade our base. Harlow led the way as we headed back towards the jungle area, being careful we didn't run into any more of those awful tarantula hawks, or something even worse. Soon, we found a jungle spider who was being terrorized by creepers. At first, we thought they were just normal creepers, but there was something wrong about them. They had longer, freakier legs. They were mutants, made during one of MODOK's mad experiments. Hey, leave that spider alone! They didn't listen, so I started firing arrows at them using my bow. I scored a few direct hits, and it angered the mutant creepers. Luckily for me though, Harlow had my back, so as they came charging at us, we were ready for a battle. Even with my weapons and Harlow's strength combined, our fight with the mutant creepers was still a tough one. They were much stronger than your average creepers. But with a few well-placed shots, and with Harlow's strength, we were eventually able to overpower them before they managed to explode. We went to check that the spider was okay.
Thank you both for your help. My name is Jupe, the jungle spider.
Whoa, spiders can talk here.
What do you mean?
Harlow, you mean you can't hear Jupe? Oh, of course, my Ant-Man helmet. It must be allowing me to talk with bugs.
I hate to ask, but there's another of MODOK's experiments nearby. I'm far too weak to fight it, but maybe you could beat the beastly thing?
Leave it to me.
Zozo, you guys go on ahead. I'm going to go back to the base to collect some more supplies.
On days 9 to 10, I followed Jupe back to where she had last seen the Mad MODOK's evil experiment. After a fair bit of searching, we found ourselves at what was left of Jupe's spider nest, with a massive mutant earth elemental roaming nearby.
That's the monster. It destroyed my home.
Jupe was understandably upset, but unfortunately had caught the elemental's attention by accident. The creature spotted us almost immediately and instantly started making its way towards us, ready to attack. Oh no, I really wish we hadn't left Harlow back at the base. While Jupe scurried off to hide, I pulled out my sword and took a swing at the earth elemental. I could barely leave as much as a scratch. It was way too powerful, and I was still too weak to fight it. Before I could get overwhelmed, I ran as fast as I could, only stopping when I met up with Jupe. We'll have to come back when I'm stronger. Maybe if I can fix the suit, I can grow to a giant size and stomp him.
I'm sure you will, but in the meantime, what should I do? I have nowhere to go now that this monster has ruined my home.
Well, for the time being, you're welcome to stay at my base with me and Harlow. On days 11 to 12, I made my way back to my base with Jupe beside me. I quickly built her a room where she could spin some new webs to make herself nice and comfy.
Thank you for coming to help me, and for taking me in, Ant-Man. Most people would see a spider my size and be terrified.
That's okay. I'm glad I can understand you through this helmet. How did you get to that size? Did it have anything to do with MODOK?
Oh, MODOK, that horrible madman. He's been toying with everything here in this miniverse. He alters sizes, creates new creatures whenever he feels like it, then abandons them if they won't fight for him. We'll never be at peace until someone puts an end to his schemes.
Sounds like a job for me. After I had talked with Jupe, I went out and mined for some more materials. I hadn't had a chance to gather anything since fighting the elemental. I managed to come across iron and coal, so I made a furnace to smelt the iron and crafted some iron tools and boots. After all that work, nighttime was approaching, so I had to move quickly if I wanted to take advantage of the last moments of daylight. Walking a short way from my base, I found gravel and began to dig for flint, then kept that in my inventory. On days 13 to 15, I was feeling eager to get stronger and to see if I could get my powers back, so I spoke to Harlow for his advice.
Well, I only became this strong because of MODOK's experiments. But you should probably try training. I hear that's what a lot of superheroes do. Practice does make perfect, after all.
I guess that's worth a shot. I then went out in search of some of MODOK's lower-level cronies to fight. After a bit of traveling, I ended up finding myself in a forest. There were strange creatures flying about in the air, and they were a lot smaller than most other mobs I had seen. But what these dark leeches lacked in size, they made up for in numbers. Okay then, let's take you on. I launched into an attack, wielding an iron sword I had crafted. The dark leeches swarmed me, but I knew that the best way to attack them was up close. They were too small for me to pick off from a distance with my bow and arrows. They were fast, but each one could be slashed down with ease. I just had to be careful not to get bitten by any of them. After a lot of swinging my sword about, I managed to defeat the swarm of dark leeches and come away victorious. The dead leeches dropped some healing potions. Whoa, now this should definitely come in handy. I used the healing potions, and to my surprise, it caused me to gain a few more hearts. Well, I guess that just happened. On days 16 to 19, after beating those dark leeches, I decided to go off exploring a bit more to keep building my strength up. During my travels, I stumbled upon a village, but when I went to take a closer look, there was nobody around to be seen. I searched all the buildings. However, none of the villagers were in their homes. I wonder what happened here. Where did everybody go?
You should not have come here.
Ah! You scared me! It was the ghost of an ordinary villager. No wonder I couldn't find anyone here. Something bad must have happened to them.
It is not safe here. You must leave while you still can.
What do you mean? What happened to you?
We were living peacefully here until MODOK came into this miniverse. He took the people of this village to use in his experiments.
He's a monster!
In his madness, he tried to create a creature that was powered by anger that would get stronger the more enraged it became. But the experiment went wrong, and the creature ransacked our town. This is why you must leave. It's still here.
Wait, a creature powered by anger? That sounds a lot like the Hulk. Suddenly, a villager beast came bursting through the roof to ambush me. The ghost vanished in fear while I rushed outside and took out my weapons, ready for a fight. The beast wasn't as strong as I was expecting, but we were still pretty evenly matched. It was looking like I might need to run away again. That is, until the ghost appeared again and helped distract the beast.
Quick, while his back is turned.
Zozo smash! With a big swing of my sword, I put an end to the villager beast, and the battle was done! Whew, thanks for the help! On days 20 through 22, I was heading back to my base. On the way, I kept my superhero training going by fighting a few zombies that I came across. I took them out with ease, like they were nothing. Harlow was right. Practice does make perfect, and I'm definitely improving. As I got closer to the base, I gathered some extra iron, which I held onto. I'd be able to improve my gear with it once I made it home. I finally arrived and smelted the ore I found into ingots. I then crafted some iron armor and an iron shield to defend myself in future battles, alongside with a new sword since mine was about to break. Well, if a shield works for Captain America, then it'll work for me. Starting to feel a lot more confident with my superhero skills, as well as my newly crafted tools and weapons, I decided to pay a visit to an old enemy. Jupe, I'm gonna go and teach that Earth Elemental a thing or two about what happens when you mess with innocent spiders' nests. I made my way back to the ruins of Jupe's old nest, and that's where I found the Elemental waiting for me. It immediately charged directly at me, swinging his huge rocky fist as he tried to hit me. I blocked with my new shield, but his attack stunned me, making it difficult to keep my health up or move out of the way. Luckily, Harlow had given me plenty of food to bring with me, and my armor protected me from each of the elemental's blows too. He continued to swing at me, but I had already taken down the villager beast. This was just another of MODOK's experiments. Waiting for the perfect opportunity, I landed the perfect hit and managed to defeat the Earth Elemental, causing him to burst into rocky smithereens! Woohoo! Among the stone remains of the Elemental was a note, so I picked it up to take a closer look. It was an order from MODOK.
Don't let that no-good hero find where we've stashed the PIM particles. If he finds out where they are, he'll be able to use them to power his suit. We can't have him shrinking down to sneak out of the miniverse, or growing bigger than a house. He'd wipe us all out in no time. Whatever happens, stall him. Keep him away from the particles.
Of course, MODOK's the reason why I can't get my Ant-Man suit to work. I can keep getting stronger, but without PIM particles, I can't use my powers. So I guess the question is, where do I start looking? From day 23 to day 26, I returned back to my base to give Jupe the Jungle Spider the good news. Jupe, I did it! I defeated the elemental that had ruined your home. You can go back anytime you like now, though of course, you're always welcome to stay here too.
That's so wonderful to hear, Zozo. I think I'll stay to help you until MODOK is defeated. Then I'll return to my true home. All thanks to you.
Feeling good after helping Jupe, I made myself a flint and steel. This will be perfect for making campfires. After that, I spent some time building a strong perimeter wall around my base. That'd help keep out the mobs at night. From day 27 to day 31, I decided to venture out into the desert to continue my search for the PIM particles. Without them, I'd never have any hope of defeating MODOK. While out in the desert, I ran into a Pterodon. Hey, sorry to bother you, but would you happen to know where I could find some PIM particles around here?
PIM particles, I can't tell you exactly where to find them, but I have some theories. I'm actually an advanced particle scientist, and I wrote my thesis on PIM particles.
Oh wow, that actually sounds like super valuable knowledge. Want to come stay at my base and work on this together? I'm Zozo, by the way.
I'm Frank, and sure, I'll take you up on that offer.
As Frank headed back, I decided to mine some sand blocks that I could take back to base. When I arrived again, I turned the sand blocks into grass blocks and used them to create windows in my base. That should get a little light on the situation, but I didn't get to enjoy my new windows for long. Harlow the honey golem ran towards me, looking panicked.
Zozo, I need your help. I just got word there's been an attack on my underground community.
What? We better go immediately. From day 32 to day 35, Harlow and I ran straight to the caves that protected the underground community of honey golems. The cave was crawling with giant, vicious centipedes, a type of aggressive mutant centipede created in MODOK's evil laboratory. Don't worry everyone, we're here to help. Keep away from the centipedes. But we had arrived a little too late. There were so many centipedes, and even though we tried our best to fight them all off, sadly we spotted no honey golems inside. Hopefully some escaped. Harlow and I worked together to defeat the rest of the centipedes, but the damage was already done. I'm so sorry, Harlow. I wish we could have done more.
We must defeat MODOK, Zozo. We can't let him get away with this.
From day 36 to day 39, I needed to get away from my base. After the incident in the caves, I had trouble even looking Harlow in the eye. Instead, I went out to the swamp, seeing if I could find any interesting materials out there. While searching, I met a joust who needed a favor.
Hey, stranger. Jerry's the name. Being a joust is my game. Now, I don't want to impose, but my little swamp shack is surrounded by crocodiles. If you were to help scare those chompy critters away, I'd give you something in return.
There is something I need. Do you happen to know anything about MODOK?
MODOK? Oh, me and that guy go way back. We went to Miniverse College together. He's always been a huge meanie. If you scare off those crocodiles, I'll tell you what I know.
Deal. I went further into the swamp until I found Jerry the Joust's shack, which was surrounded by vicious crocodiles. I pulled out my sword and ran in, swinging and flailing. Get out of here, crockies! Go on, get! Once the crocodiles had been defeated, I returned to Jerry the Joust and asked him what he knew about MODOK.
He acts like he's confident, but believe me, the guy's real insecure. He's only as strong as the monsters working with him. If you're able to become strong enough and get him alone, that's your best chance at defeating him.
From day 40 to day 43, I decided I'd spend some more time sprucing up the base. Seeing as I was spending so much time there, I should at least make it look nice. I spent most of my time working in the yard. I put in some nice trees and flowers that really livened up the whole base.
Who'd have thought I'd have such a green thumb? After that, Harlow approached me and told me that there were a lot of honey golems who needed a place to stay after the centipedes destroyed the underground town. Of course, I invited them all to come stay with us and even built some extra rooms onto the base so they'd all have a place to stay. That's when Frank the Pterodon came to me with some exciting news.
Zozo, I've been doing some research, and I got a lead on some potential PIM particles out in the Badlands.
That's awesome! To the Badlands I go! From day 44 to day 49, I went out to the Badlands in search of the PIM particles that could give me my powers back. Instead, I found MODOK and one of the freakiest looking minions in his roster, the floating, bug-eyed Beholder!
Looking for PIM particles, Zozo?
As a matter of fact, I am. So if you'd kindly step out of my way, I'm gonna keep searching.
Oh, I'll save you the job. I have them.
What?
I already took the particles, and I'm going to use them in my experiments. They'll give me the power to create even larger, more dangerous monsters. And monsters so tiny, you won't even see them until they get you. The Miniverse will be my personal playground, and then I'll fan out and take over the entire multiverse.
I'll never let you get away with it.
That isn't up to you, Zozo. Beholder, destroy him. I'm going back to the lab.
MODOK flew away, leaving only me and the Beholder. I pulled out my sword and tried to hide my fear as the terrifying monster flew towards me. Maybe we can just talk it out? From day 50 to day 53, I started fighting the Beholder because, as it turns out, he did not want to just talk it out. He was fast and strong, but thankfully I was able to use all the skills I learned so far to gain an advantage. I lost a few hearts along the way, but the Beholder was eventually defeated. Jeez, I hope I never have to see another one of those again. While I was still resting after the fight, I noticed that the fallen Beholder had dropped something. A notebook marked Book of Research, written by MODOK. That's perfect. Maybe it can give me some inside information. The inside of the book read,
Without the PIM particles, my research is coming up short. But soon I'll be able to take it all to the next level. When I have the particles, the first thing I'll do is take the smallest threat and make it into the biggest one. Then unleash it on those hapless fools in the mountains.
The mountains? That's where my base is. I need to get back there immediately. From day 54 to day 57, I ran back to the mountain as fast as I could, ready to head off whatever monster that MODOK had unleashed. And the last thing I could have expected was a giant enterophage rampaging through the mountains. Its size must have been massively enhanced by PIM particles. I don't even want to know what kind of ender flu that monster would give you. I tried to attack its legs, but that didn't seem to have any effect. Its head was its only weakness, but I didn't know how to get at it. And what's more, from the direction it was heading, it was going straight towards my base. Think, Zozo, think! Wait, I have an idea! I ran ahead of the giant enterophage's path and started desperately digging a pit into the ground. As the giant enterophage approached, it fell into the pit, putting its head at eye level with me. Time to cure this walking virus. With one strike of my sword, the giant enterophage was defeated, and it dropped some PIM particles into the pit. At long last, they were mine. I collected the particles and went straight back to my base, where I figured Frank the Pterodon would know what to do with them.
You found the PIM particles. This is amazing.
So can I use them to change my size?
No, not yet. Leave them with me, Zozo. I'll refine them and get them ready for use. You'll be ready to take the fight to MODOK in no time.
From day 58 to day 62, I decided that it was time to refine my base and gear a little more and put all my new scientific skills to good use. I started by making Frank a scientific lab so he could help me more efficiently. After that, I did improvements to my room, adding more chests and forges and making it feel more fit for me. It's like having my own little laboratory. Think Pim would be so proud. Then, I made my way to a nearby diamond mine and took all the diamonds I collected back to the crafting room so I could upgrade my gear. I made a full set of diamond armor to help protect the fragile technology of my suit and a diamond sword to help me pack a punch. But even though my equipment had never been cooler, my base was looking a little gloomy. To spruce it up, I added some new couches so me and the boys could relax. This has got to be the coolest base in the Miniverse now! From day 63 to day 66, Harlow the honey golem approached me at the base with a cool idea.
Zozo, I think it's important to get as many allies as we can when fighting MODOK. We have no idea how many mutants and monsters he's created out there, so we need to get a team of our own.
That's a really good point, Harlow. Where do you think would be a good place to look for more allies?
Try the forest. I bet MODOK's goons have hassled a lot of creatures up there. They'll probably be eager to sign up.
Harlow was right. I needed to leave the base and venture over to the forest, where I could find new potential team members for our anti-MODOK movement. But the forest was way bigger than I thought, so I was searching for a whole day without finding anything. I hope this whole thing wasn't a waste of time. I can't afford to waste any of my 100 days to get out of the miniverse. My thoughts were interrupted by a huge figure running through the forest towards me, a Polypham. I pulled out my sword in a panic and prepared for a fight, but the Polypham stopped. He wasn't here to fight me.
Please, kind stranger, my name is Peter, and I was playing with my son out in the forest when suddenly a monster attacked and took him. I need help to save my son. Will you help me?
Of course I'll help you, Peter. I'm Zozo. You lead the way. From day 67 to day 70, I followed Peter Polypham deep into the dark forest. It didn't take long for us to find exactly what we were looking for. Peter's son, a baby Polypham, being chased around the forest by a scary, buzzing, warped Moscow. That looks exactly like one of MODOK's experiments.
MODOK?
He's the supervillain that made all the mutant creatures around here. Stand back, Peter. I'll take care of this one. I pulled out my sword and ran in, getting the warped Moscow's attention and distracting him from attacking Peter's son. The nasty mutant attacked me, and we started to fight. Didn't anyone ever teach you not to pick on kids, Moscow? Every time he hit me with his powerful Moscow arms, I could feel my health going down, but I needed to keep fighting for Peter and his son's sake. It was a hard battle, but in the end, the warped Moscow was defeated, and father and son were together again.
You did me and my son a great service, Zozo. One day, in your hour of need, I will repay you for this.
No problem, man. It's just what heroes do. From day 71 to day 74, still feeling good about helping Peter and his son, I continued my search through the forest. I really do love going on adventures, and if you love going on adventures, like, subscribe, and search ZOZO for more videos from me. Ooh, is that an abandoned mine? I approached an abandoned mine deep in the forest. I didn't expect to make any friends down there, but I figured I would at least be able to mine for some useful materials. I'm always making the best out of a weird situation. But in that abandoned mine, I didn't find any decent materials. I found MODOK himself, waiting for me.
You've fallen into my trap, you pathetic, teeny tiny Ant-Man. The only thing tinier than you is your brain.
Well, my brain would have to be tinier than me, or it wouldn't fit in my body.
Silence, fool!
MODOK was angry that I made him look dumb, so he fired an energy blast at me. He missed, and I ran back at him with my diamond sword. But when I hit him, nothing happened. What?
Force field technology, son. It protects me in response to trauma. You'd need to be a lot bigger and stronger than that to even put a scratch on me.
And with that, MODOK laughed and teleported away. I still wasn't nearly big or strong enough to defeat him. From day 75 to day 78, I returned to my base, feeling glum after not being able to defeat MODOK yet again. Maybe if I make some defenses, that'll make me feel better. I decided to create a few guardhouses so that I would feel more at ease, and my friends would be able to seek refuge on whatever side of the base they happened to be at. Building is so cool. As if on cue, Frank the Pterodon approached me.
I agree, Zozo, and it's thanks to some good, old-fashioned science that I've finally been able to refine these PIM particles and upgrade your suit so that it can do what it always should have done.
You mean I'll be able to change size now? I won't just be a mini Ant-Man?
Exactly, Zozo. Give it a whirl.
I activated my refined PIM particles and felt myself growing to my proper height, at long last, complete with double the hearts. It feels good to be back, Frank. From day 79 to day 84, seeing as I was back to my full strength, I wanted to go and settle some old scores. First, I went deep into the jungle and encountered some old enemies, some of the tarantula hawks that were bothering me and my friends when I was tiny.
Hey, look, it's the Pipsqueak. Oh, wait, he doesn't seem like such a Pipsqueak anymore.
Thank you for noticing. I fought the tarantula hawks who had once been such a challenge with my new strength and my diamond sword. Within a few minutes, they were all defeated. I went on the rest of my journey with my head still high. On my travels, I ran into a mad scientist doing some research deep in the jungle.
Hello there, I'm Mike, the local mad scientist. I'm conducting a wildlife survey. What are you doing here?
Oh, I'm Zozo. Nice to meet you, Mike. I've just been testing out my new PIM particles. They help me change my size at will. I can get bigger or smaller.
That sounds fascinating. Would you mind telling me more about this for my research?
Not at all. I spoke to Mike the mad scientist for a while, explaining to him exactly how the particles worked and how my suit used them. All the while, he looked super interested and made notes. In the end, he was so thankful, he gave me an enchantment he'd crafted that would increase the damage of my sword. My luck looked like it was finally turning around. From day 85 to day 89, my luck turned around again, for the worst. I returned to my base, only to find it being attacked by a gang of water elementals working for MODOK. I just can't catch a break around here. I pulled out my diamond sword and ran in to fight. I didn't want to use the full power of my PIM particles just yet, because I knew I'd need them to take on MODOK himself. So I fought the water elementals the old-fashioned way. I'm gonna make you regret trying to destroy my base. I defeated most of them, but a bunch of water elementals started to make a run for it, and I chased after them. I didn't want any of them to get away after this. But while I was running, I saw a distressed-looking Catoblopas standing in the distance, trying to get my attention.
Stranger, please, I need your help. My friend, Little Kato, is stuck in that really tall tree. I'm worried he's gonna fall and hurt himself.
Don't worry, I can help. I used my PIM particles to get a lot bigger. Due to my size, the little Kato was confident enough to jump towards me and landed safely.
Thank you, Zozo.
No problem. And with that, I continued the chase. From day 90 to day 94, I chased the gang of water elementals until they were forced to stop at a ravine. Nowhere to run, guys. Now we have to fight, and I think I'm owed a little payback. Without a second's hesitation, I started fighting the water elementals. One by one, I defeated them until only one remained. He was unusually good at taking my hits, even with a diamond sword. I don't understand. How are you so tough? Before he even replied, he punched me so hard, I lost some of my hearts.
Naive little Ant-Man. I'm not just any water elemental. I'm one of MODOK's greatest experiments. The angrier I get, the stronger and faster I become. And believe me, you got me pretty angry, Ant-Boy.
And just like that, I knew I was in for the biggest fight of my life so far. From day 95 to day 97, my battle with the water elementals continued. He was the strongest and fastest enemy I'd ever faced, and as he got angrier, his skills increased.
Face it, Zozo, you're outmatched. I'm going to crush you like an ant.
I clearly couldn't defeat him like this. I needed a new strategy, but how could I defeat someone who got tougher as they got angrier? Wait, I have it! I needed to calm down. That way, he'd be weak enough to lose. I just needed to calm him down. Water elemental, imagine rainbows and puppies.
I don't know what you're trying to do, Ant-Boy, but it won't work.
Think about calming waterfalls and the smell of fresh-cut grass. Think about relaxing at the end of the day and watching your favorite TV show.
No, how dare you? You can't do this to me. I'm getting calmer.
Think about getting to sleep in late on a Saturday. Think about getting a massage and drinking some herbal tea. Think about meditating in the middle of a meadow filled with dandelions.
Blast it! I've never felt so calm.
I finally used my PIM particles in combat, becoming tiny and attacking the water elemental with great speed, making me even stronger. It only took one hit like that, and the water elemental was pushed into a corner. He dropped something. It looked like a map. Wait, is this a map directly to MODOK's secret laboratory? Why would you even have this on you? You work for the guy.
I have a terrible sense of direction, okay? But it doesn't matter. You may have defeated me, but you'll never defeat MODOK. He's got the biggest brain in the miniverse.
Yeah, and the smallest heart. I'm gonna defeat MODOK if it's the last thing I do. And with that, the water elemental vanished. On day 98, after defeating all the water elementals and finding out the location of MODOK's secret laboratory, I returned to my base to speak with my friends, Harlow the honey golem, Jupe the jungle spider, and Frank the Pterodon. Friends, it's time! I need to defeat MODOK once and for all! I want to thank you for all the help you've given me, but even if I win, this might be goodbye, because I'll need to leave the miniverse. Harlow spoke up first.
Zozo, you've helped me through some tough times. When my people's homes were destroyed by MODOK, you were there for me. So after you've taken him down, I wish you luck in whatever comes next.
Then, Juke, the jungle spider.
You're one of the most heroic people I've ever met, Zozo.
You may be an Ant-Man, but you've got the heart of a jungle spider.
And I mean that as the highest compliment I can give.
And of course, Frank the Pterodon.
You're not just a hero, Zozo, but a brilliant scientist. I believe you've gained all the knowledge and skills you need to defeat that big-headed monster. All you need to do now is believe in yourself.
On day 99, with everything prepared, I decided to make my way to MODOK's evil laboratory so I could stop the dastardly villain and escape the miniverse once and for all. Using my refined PIM particles in my fully upgraded suit, I decided to make myself incredibly tiny so none of MODOK's guards would spot me. On the way there, I ran into a cockroach who was about the same size as me in my shrunken form. Hey, Mr. Cockroach, hope you're having a good day. I'm on my way to defeat a supervillain.
The name's Carl, my friend, and I wish you luck in your quest. Defeating a supervillain sounds like a pretty cool thing for you to do.
I continued on my quest until I reached the laboratory, but as could probably be expected, it was surrounded by sentinels, powerful mutant zombies created by MODOK's evil experiments. Maybe they won't see me if I'm tiny, but what if they do? I don't know if I could take them all on at once. Then I heard big, thundering footsteps coming towards me, and I turned to see Peter Polyphan.
Maybe I can be of service.
Peter, have you come to help me?
Sure have, Zozo. You helped me save my kid, so now I'm gonna help you stop your supervillain. I'll distract those doofy mutant zombies. You head in there, and you bring the big boss down.
You got it, Peter. Let's end this thing. On day 100, I ran past the gang of mutant zombies while Peter Polyphan distracted them and entered MODOK's evil laboratory. The big-headed bad guy himself was waiting for me as soon as I came in. It's over, MODOK. I know your plans, but they won't do you any good now. I have the PIM particles, and my suit is fully operational. If I was you, I'd just give up.
But you're not me, Zozo. I'm a genius, a visionary scientist. You're just a goofball who likes to dress up like a bug. If you were truly smart, you'd be able to see the value in what I'm doing here.
All I see is an evil guy who's hurting people to benefit himself. And if you can't see that, then I guess we better just get this over with. I prepared to size shift into an even tinier version of myself when MODOK blasted me with some kind of shockwave that blocked my powers.
Too bad, so sad. Mutated zombies, take care of him.
A bunch of MODOK's mutated zombies came running out to attack me. Of course, a coward like him wouldn't want to fight for himself. I'm ready. I'll take you all on. I pulled out my diamond sword and attacked before they attacked me. Thanks to my upgraded suit and diamond armor, it's not like they could do much damage to me anyway. Soon enough, every single one of them was defeated. It was just me and MODOK.
You still can't defeat me. Do you really think you have any hope at defeating my power and my genius, you puny little Ant-Man?
Puny? Is that what you're calling me? I activated my PIM particles and started to grow. It didn't take long for me to tower over MODOK with my new giant size. How about now, MODOK?
Oh no!
With one more strike from my giant size, MODOK was defeated! Finally, after 100 days of struggle, I could leave the miniverse. On day 1, I spawned into the deep dark forest as a skeleton dragon, one of the coolest and spookiest kinds of dragons there is. Well, I guess I'm more of a baby skeleton dragon. I must have just come out of the skeleton altar. That's gotta be why I only have 3 hearts. And what's this in my inventory? A void worm eye? What would I use that for? That's when I saw a skeleton horse riding out of the trees towards me. For some reason, she looked worried.
What are you doing here, baby skeleton dragon?
I just got here. My name's Zozo. What's going on?
It's dangerous to be in this forest at night. We need to get out of here.
Before I could ask any more questions, I saw shadows in the dark between the trees. And suddenly, I felt uneasy.
Zozo, we have to leave. Now! Mr. Dark is here.
Mr. Dark? Who's Mr.? A tall, shadowy figure appeared in the trees behind us. At first, all I could see was his glowing purple eyes.
No need to run away. Why don't you come with me, little ones? I'll take you to Playland. We'll have toys and games and candy I just know you're going to love it.
I knew in my dragon bones I couldn't trust this man. He creeped me out just standing near him. So me and the skeleton horse ran away as fast as we could.
You can run, little ones, but I'll take you all to Playland soon.
We took refuge in a nearby cave to wait out the rest of the night, worried Mr. Dark might find us at any moment. What's your name, skeleton horse?
Sally. I'm Sally the Skeleton Horse.
Thanks for the save, Sally. On day 2, Sally the skeleton horse and I emerged from the cave with the sun shining high up above.
We're safer during the daytime. I've only ever seen Mr. Dark under the moonlight.
We decided, with a little less pressure on us, to start exploring the rest of the forest. It definitely wasn't so scary with the sun shining in through the trees. Maybe we should collect some apples.
That's a good idea, Zozo. A skeleton horse is still a horse, and I love apples.
We happily collected apples until a huge shape came lumbering out of the dark. It was a skeleton dragon, a huge adult skeleton dragon with black bones. Oh wow! Hey, Mr. Skeleton Dragon, I'm Zozo, and I'm one of your kind. The adult skeleton dragon seemed relieved to see me.
Oh, thank goodness. I've been looking for you everywhere. I'm in terrible trouble, and I need the help of another skeleton dragon. I just didn't expect you to be so small.
I may be small, but I've got a big heart. How can I help you?
A friend of mine, the blue skeleton dragon, was taken by something. Some tall, shadowy entity, and I need help in getting him back.
That sounds just like Mr. Dark.
He terrorized us too, but don't worry, we'll help you get your friend back from Mr. Dark no matter what.
Thank you, Zozo, and friend. For now, I must go. Stay safe.
The adult skeleton dragon flew away, leaving me and Sally alone. It was time to work on our first base, so we started breaking down trees and collecting sticks and wood. I was able to build a crafting bench and made my first set of wooden tools and weapons. These would be perfect for my first base. We found a clearing in the forest and started building ourselves a humble wooden shack with one bed and a stable outside. But all the while, Sally looked a little concerned. What's wrong, Sally?
That's skeleton dragon's friend. We better work hard at getting him back. Mr. Dark only keeps people at Playland for 100 days. After that, well, you don't want to know.
And she was right. I really didn't. On day 3, I was wandering through the forest looking for apples to eat and more supplies that I could use to upgrade my base. Nothing like fresh air and a walk to make a morning happy and healthy. But during my walk, I saw a hulking figure behind the trees, a mutant skeleton. He looked big and a little scary, so when he turned around and looked at me, I ran for the hills. Not today, mutant skeleton. I returned to my base, where I felt a lot safer and started mining into a nearby hill to gather some stone. Then I made my first set of stone tools, a stone sword, and even started building a sturdy stone wall around my base. But as I was building my wall, I was suddenly approached by an angry-looking gang of rogue tomatoes. They somehow looked both silly and like they meant business.
Don't you laugh at us, bub, or I'm gonna give you a knuckle sandwich with extra ketchup, you hear?
Those were fighting words, so I decided it was time to give my brand new stone sword some action. If it's a tussle you want, it's a tussle you'll get, tomatoes! I fought them all, making short work of them with my stone sword, and after their defeat, one of them dropped a milk bucket. Guess I'll just keep this, in case it comes in handy. That's when I looked up and noticed it was getting dark. I'd need to finish the wall another day. I definitely didn't want to get stuck outside while Mr. Dark was on the prowl. Instead, I went back to my bedroom and got a good night's sleep. On days 4 and 5, I woke up to the sound of Sally the skeleton horse entering my room. Hey, Sally, what's up?
Zozo, I noticed you brought back a milk bucket last night. You should drink it. Milk contains calcium, and calcium is good for your bones. It's the perfect way for a skeleton dragon to get stronger.
That sounded like a great idea. So I chugged the milk and immediately found myself getting stronger. I grew to a big, tougher form with 6 hearts rather than 3. This is more like it. I'm gonna go take a walk in my new form.
I'll finish up the wall while you're out.
So that's what I did. But this time, I didn't want to just walk through the forest. I went all the way to the desert so I could feel the heat on my bones. Sun and skeletons go together like peanut butter and jelly. I turned and saw a wither skeleton further out into the desert. He seemed to be fishing in a pond. I couldn't believe how many friendly skeletons I was running into these days. I made my way over the small hill to him.
Enjoying the sun, fellow skeleton?
Want to come back to my base and hang out with me and my horse friend, Mr. Wither Skeleton? We're putting together a group to help save an innocent skeleton dragon from an evil man.
Sounds good to me, brother. Let's boogie.
The Wither Skeleton and I traveled back to the base together, and we came back just in time because a big, angry Ravager was trying to break down my defensive wall. Uh-oh. Want to help me run off this nasty customer, Wither Skeleton?
Heck yeah, let's do it.
With the both of us ready to fight, the Ravager was outmanned. We didn't manage to defeat it, but it did run away. By then, it was already almost nightfall. We needed to get some sleep, in case Mr. Dark came out looking for us. I installed a second bed in my cabin, as well as some more furniture, and invited the Wither Skeleton to come stay with us.
Sounds good to me, brother. Sleepover time.
On days 6 through 8, me and the Wither Skeleton went out into the forest and collected some more yummy apples. But that wasn't all we were looking for. We found the same cave that Sally and I had hidden in the first night I arrived here. It's mining time. And then I mined all over that cave. It didn't take me long to find enough iron and coal to smell myself some new weapons and tools. Iron weapons, iron tools, I'm really moving up in the world. After leaving the cave with our loot and returning to the forest, we were suddenly ambushed by the same Ravager, looking for revenge. Be ready to fight, Wither Skeleton. This won't be easy.
I was born ready, Zozo.
But sadly, he wasn't actually born ready. That Ravager was way stronger than we thought. We fought the Ravager until it was defeated, but the Wither Skeleton was destroyed in the process. Wither Skeleton, no, I'll never forget you. He dropped his hat, which I decided to take with me. He had also dropped a flint and steel, a useful item for lighting fires. On the way back to my base, I encountered a soul vulture hanging out amongst the trees. Hey, Mr. Soul Vulture, want to come back to my base? I figure us Bone Brothers should stick together.
Is it cozy?
The coziest in all the forest.
Well, I can hardly say no to that, can I?
The Soul Vulture came back to my base with me, where I built him his own room. I also used some of my excess iron to create an iron golem to guard the base. Now I can sleep a little easier. On days 9 to 10, I was woken up in the middle of the night by something scratching my window. I looked up and saw Mr. Dark, his bright purple eyes staring in through my window. He was so creepy, I could barely stand it. Mr. Dark, how did you get past my guard wall and my iron golem? Mr. Dark gave a creepy little giggle.
I can go anywhere I want, at any time I want, Zozo. No walls are too high, no trenches are too deep, and no golem is too strong. If I wanted to, I could open your door and walk into your bedroom right now.
And why don't you?
Because where'd be the fun in that? Silly little dragon boy, you'll choose to come to Playland with me. I just know you will, and you'll have a wonderful time. I'll be keeping my eye on you, Zozo. I'll come back when you least expect it, and then you'll be all mine.
Then he disappeared, and I couldn't get back to sleep for the rest of the night. On days 11 through 12, still feeling shaken up from my encounter with Mr. Dark the night before, I decided to build some base improvements. I made the wall taller and started digging a trench around the outside of the wall, so the only way to get in or out would be the front gate, guarded by my iron golem. This should keep that nasty midnight creep away. After my work was done, Sally the skeleton horse approached me with a suggestion.
Zozo, you should train yourself and get stronger by visiting new biomes. How about a trip to the beach?
Yeah, I could use a trip to the beach after a week like this. I made my way to the beach with Sally for a mixture of relaxation and hardcore strength training. And it didn't take long for us to need it, because a bunch of angry iron chickens started attacking us.
We're the iron chicken muggers, and believe us, we can be pretty foul. So you better hand over all your bucks.
Thankfully, with Sally and I working together, we were able to defeat the Iron Chicken Muggers and keep all of our hard-earned money.
This kind of thing is exactly why I hate chickens.
We kept exploring until we found another skeleton friend, a skeleton deer. So of course, I invited her back to my base.
Gee, thanks. I'd love a new place to stay. I've been getting tired of all this sand.
The skeleton deer followed us back to the base, where I built her a new section of the stable to sleep in.
This is so comfy. Thanks, Zozo.
Don't mention it, skeleton deer.
And by the way, I saw you fighting the iron chickens. You were good, but if you want to get better, I recommend seeking out the necromancer. He can mentor you to greatness.
Necromancer! That sounds like a plan! On days 13 to 15, I left my base and began searching the forest for the Necromancer. I'm sick of being afraid and hiding away when the bad guys come. I want to be strong enough to be brave and fight back. But it turned out I was talking to myself a little too loudly because an angry stone monster came running at me through the woods. Uh-oh, sorry about the noise. I'm guessing we can't just talk this out. He did not want to talk it out. Instead, he chased me and I ran as fast as I could on my skeleton dragon legs, but he was faster. Oh no, oh no, 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 no! But just as he was about to catch me, something burst out of the tree line as quick as a flash. It was the mutant skeleton I'd run away from earlier. He pulled out his bow and easily defeated the stone monster, really saving my bones. Thank you, mutant skeleton. I'm so sorry for running away earlier. I guess I learned a valuable lesson about judging on appearances.
No problem, Zozo. I know I can look a little scary sometimes, but really, I'm out here trying to help.
Wanna come and stay at my base for a while? I'm putting together a team.
I'd love to, but there's too much work to do protecting people out here. Perhaps I'll drop in for a visit sometime, though, eh?
Me and the mutant skeleton went our separate ways, and I continued searching for the fabled necromancer until I saw a gremlin hopping around, looking clearly distressed. What's wrong, little gremlin?
I'm in trouble, man. These, nasty jungle spiders have been chasing me all day, and I'm worried they're gonna get me.
Stand back, little gremlin. This sounds like a job for Zozo. With my trusty sword, I found that nasty swarm of jungle spiders and took them out before returning to the gremlin.
Whoa, Zozo, you're like a real hero. That was awesome.
No problem, little gremlin. Say, you know where I might be able to find a necromancer?
Oh, the necromancer. You'll find him in the west of here. Keep heading in that direction, and you're sure to meet him.
Thank you, Gremlin. That's exactly what I needed to hear. For days 16 to 19, I began my journey west in search of the necromancer, until I heard a terrible crashing noise coming from the distance behind me. It sounded like it was coming from my base. I immediately turned tail and ran all the way back, only to see that my defensive wall had been destroyed, and a dangerous zombie taiga was attacking my base. What are you doing, you meanie?
It's nothing personal, kid. Mr. Dark told me to do this. If I don't hurt you, he'll hurt me. That's just the way it is.
I turned and saw something awful. He'd already destroyed the skeleton deer and the soul vulture. Sally, the skeleton horse, was my only companion left. That's it. You're going down. I pulled out my sword and attacked the zombie taiga, but it seemed like he deflected the hits without any effort. He was almost unstoppable.
That was just embarrassing. If you couldn't defeat me, you'll have no hope against Mr. Dark. I'm out of here.
And with that, the zombie taiga fled, leaving me in the ruins of my base with two of my friends. Gone! I feel useless, like I can't protect anyone. That's when a gang of mossy skeletons turned up. They looked frightened and said they'd heard I'd been offering other skeletons a place to stay. Of course you can stay here, new buddies, but I'm gonna need to make a few renovations first. I built a new barracks on the side of my base for the mossy skeletons to live in. They seemed quite happy with their new place, and I took the time to rebuild some of the defenses that the zombie taiga destroyed. But I can't just defend my base. I need to be able to defend myself too. I mined for more iron and coal until I had everything I needed to smelt myself a new set of iron armor. I may have lost a battle, but I wouldn't lose the war. On days 20 to 22, I left my base to search for some statue building materials. After all, a cool statue is great for inspiring everyone to do their best. But on my way out to mine some stone, I was ambushed by a green troll with an axe to grind. Well, more specifically, he had a giant fist. I've got no interest in feeding any trolls today. With my sword at the ready, we engaged in a tense duel. Thankfully, with my new iron armor, I was able to withstand his attacks and defeat him. Iron and bone beats flesh. Afterwards, I traveled further through the forest until I stumbled upon a desert with the remains of a giant skeleton. Whoa, this is perfect for building a cool statue, and I know exactly what I'll make with them. I started mining the ribs one by one, making sure I didn't fall into the pools of lava.
By the end of it, I had all the bone blocks I'd ever need. On the way back, I encountered a herd of wild sheep grazing and decided I'd tame them and lead them back to the base, because you never know when some wool will come in handy. When we reached the base, I made a new, fenced-off section where the sheep could graze and be left to their own devices. And with that out of the way, it was time to start statue building. Laying down the base is one of the most important parts, so the statue doesn't just tumble over. Can you guess what the statue is gonna be yet? Let me know down in the comments. From day 23 to day 26, I returned to the forest to search for the necromancer. I needed his teachings to help me get stronger and defeat Mr. Dark. While wandering through the woods, I got attacked by a nasty gang of rotten rats. They tried to bite me and give me some nasty diseases. When it comes to rats versus skeleton dragons, rats don't win. I defeated the last of them with my iron sword and continued searching. On the way, I ran into a wither skeleton jockey riding a spider. He reminded me of the wither skeleton who used to be my friend. Hey, Mr. Wither skeleton jockey, wanna come back and stay at my base?
Nice offer, but no thanks. There are some evil things lurking in these woods, and I've learned not to trust anyone. Maybe some other time.
All right, suit yourself. Stay safe out there. It felt like the day had been a total waste as I journeyed further into the forest. But just as I was ready to give up, I saw the necromancer himself, sitting on a rock and meditating. No way! The necromancer! Is it really you?
Those who seek me will find me, little skeleton dragon. And I assume you've been seeking me.
I have. I want you to mentor me and help me become more powerful.
Well, young dragon, with great power comes great... Well, you have to have a good reason to have great power. So, what is your reason?
I don't need it for myself. I need it to defeat Mr. Dark and save everyone he's captured.
That, little dragon, is a good reason. Your training begins now.
For days 27 to 31, the necromancer gave me my first challenge.
To defeat an entity as evil and spooky as Mr. Dark, you need to learn to conquer your fear. It's okay to be afraid, Zozo, but true courage is knowing that there are some things you must do, even if they make you feel afraid.
What would you have me do, Master Necromancer?
Do you see that nearby cave? It contains a monster. I want you to go in there and defeat it to help gain control of your fear. If you complete this first challenge, I'll give you a reward.
I believe in myself. I can do it.
Good, and you can take this bat to help you. It will freeze your opponents for 3 seconds. May it come in handy.
I took the necromancer's bat and went into the cave. It was dark and scary, and I could feel myself getting nervous, but I took deep breaths and kept going. I needed to strengthen my courage to defeat Mr. Dark. The deeper parts of the cave weren't any better, only some lichen and mushrooms giving off faint light. Suddenly, a scary, growling soul eater leaped out of the darkness toward me, ready to attack. I stayed calm and hit the creature with my bat, studying it. I'd passed the test. Okay, now it's time to get out of here. On days 32 to 35, my new mentor rewarded me for passing the first challenge by giving me a potion of strength. I immediately drank it and felt myself getting bigger and tougher. This training was really paying off. I have to be at least twice the size I once was. This whole thing made me feel so happy, I decided I'd go back to my base and tell the mossy skeletons and Sally the skeleton horse about my victory. And on the way, I encountered the wither skeleton jockey that I'd met a few days before. Hey, jockey! Have you had any second thoughts about coming to my base?
Well, now that you mention it, I have been getting some eerie vibes lately. Maybe we should stick together after all.
But those eerie vibes didn't come from nothing. Neither of us noticed it, but the day had gotten away from us. The sun was going down, and the night was upon us. That's when Mr. Dark himself came creeping out of the trees.
Ooh, new friends. I'll take you to Playland with me. We'll have so much fun.
He grabbed the wither skeleton jockey with his long, spindly arms.
Zozo, help me. I'm being kidnapped.
But I couldn't help him. Mr. Dark was too fast and too strong, and all I could do was run. My base may have been the only place that was safe at night. On the way back, I encountered an ancient spirit villager who started chasing me, and I was too afraid to even fight him. I just ran away. All that training, useless. I don't know if I'll ever be able to defeat Mr. Dark. On days 36 to 39, I woke up and took the jockey Spider to the stable when I heard noise coming from my front gate. I made my way over to see a familiar face waiting outside of my base. It was the same zombie taiga who attacked my base and destroyed Soul Vulture and Skeleton Deer. This time, he's going down. I ran out, ready to fight. This time, I had full iron armor, so the zombie taiga's attacks weren't nearly as strong.
What sorcery is this? Mr. Dark told me you'd be easy to defeat. This isn't fair.
With the help of my new strength and the bat that the necromancer had given me, I defeated the zombie taiga and avenged my fallen friends. Speaking of friends, Sally the skeleton horse approached me with a wonderful idea.
Zozo, we should make our way to the Stone Shores. I've heard that some of the friendlies over there have created some awesome upgrades.
Oh really? Then there's no time to waste. We hightailed it over to the Stone Shores, where we saw an innocent skeleton being hassled by an ogre. We couldn't let that stand. Get away from that skelly! Sally and I charged in, and that was enough to scare the ogre away. He seemed thankful and gave us 2 rewards, the knockback upgrade, which increased the power of my weapons, and a treasure map. You hear that, Sally? We can use this to search for buried treasure.
Now that sounds like a cool adventure to me, Zozo. Let's do it.
For days 40 to 43, Sally and I followed the map until we arrived in the warm, dusty Badlands. We were getting a little nervous because it was almost nightfall. We were right about that, but we didn't consider that Mr. Dark might send his minions to do the job for him.
Look out, Zozo! Some night apparitions are coming straight towards us.
Sally was right. 3 big, scary night apparitions. I pulled out my sword, now with increased knockback, and fought them off. They were tough, but luckily, Sally and I made a good team, and we were able to defeat 2 of the 3. The last one escaped to fight another day. Let's keep going, Sally. According to this map, we're really close to finding the buried treasure. Soon enough, we found an area of the ground with a big red X marked on it.
Don't they always say X marks the spot, Zozo? Let's start digging.
We mined down into the ground until we found a buried chest. And inside, there were a whole bunch of rubies. This is awesome! I know exactly what I'm going to use them for. On days 44 to 49, I continued my work on the statue. It was really coming along now. Can you see what I'm making now? I bet you can't guess. But while I was working on my statue, I saw a trader on a horse making his way through the forest near my base and decided to strike up a conversation. Hey, Mr. Trader, got anything cool on offer?
It's your lucky day, dear customer, because I'm actually doing a 2-for-1 special on netherite ingots today. It's a rare and very valuable material. Perfect for a skeleton dragon like you.
That sounds so cool. How much?
I only take payment in emeralds. But don't worry, if you haven't got any, you can always raid the emerald mines of Alonia near here. They got abandoned by the workers when the boss decided not to pay them enough, so all the emeralds were left for the taking.
I really wanted those netherite ingots, even though I didn't really know what I'd use them for. So I journeyed to the mines and collected as many emeralds as I could from underground. Netherite City? Here I come! I traveled back to my base and made the trade. The trader gave me my 2 netherite ingots and rode off.
Pleasure doing business with you, Zozo.
But I didn't have long to enjoy my fancy new ingots. As night fell, the 3rd and final night apparition came back for revenge, and I needed to run out beyond the wall to take it on. You guys don't know when to quit, do you? Soon enough, I defeated the night apparition, but it made me realize that my base needed better defenses. If these monsters and Mr. Dark mainly come out at night, maybe they hate the light. Perhaps adding some torches to my wall would help ward them off. On days 50 to 53, I realized something horrible. The night apparition attack had just been a distraction, while someone else had sneaked into the stable and kidnapped Sally the skeleton horse. I ran to my mentor, the necromancer, deep in the forest, and asked him where Mr. Dark's forces may have taken my best friend.
Well, Zozo, I hate to tell you this, but it's likely that Mr. Dark's minions will be taking your friend to the Twisted Kingdom he calls Playland.
But where can I find that?
Even I don't know exactly, but my senses tell me that you should travel to the east. Your answers lay there.
There was no time to waste. I didn't want Sally to get trapped in Playland, just like the other skeleton dragon's friend, so I immediately set off to the east, hoping to find her. But on my way, I was suddenly ambushed by a zombie Spartan, ready to fight. But unlucky for him, I was ready to fight too. Nothing is going to stand in the way of me rescuing my friend. The zombie Spartan was tough, but I had the power of friendship on my side. It didn't take me long to strike him to submission with my enchanted sword. In his defeat, the zombie Spartan dropped something, 2 voidworm mandibles. I already have a voidworm eye. I better take them. They might come in handy. On days 54 to 57, having defeated the zombie Spartan, I continued searching for Sally the skeleton horse, and my search soon led me to a deep cave. Suddenly, it felt like everything got much darker around me. I'm never going to let Mr. Dark take you to Playland, Sally.
That isn't your choice, Zozo.
I turned and saw one of the shadows in the cave moving with bright purple eyes. It was him, Mr. Dark, standing right behind me.
Do you want to come to Playland with me now?
What did you do with her? I swung my sword and Mr. Dark teleported out of the way, appearing right behind me.
She's playing with my friends right now, but later she'll play with me. Do you want to play with us, Zozo?
I tried to hit him again, but Mr. Dark was too fast for me. He hit me with one of his long, spindly arms and knocked me up against the wall, knocking out half of my hearts in one strike.
Still too weak. We'll play again when you're stronger, Zozo. Mark my words.
And then he disappeared, leaving me with nothing. A silver Lobo approached me out of the darkness, looking worried, and gave me some apples to replenish my hearts. Thanks, Silver Lobo. You saved my life here. The Lobo told me about a secret room further into the cave where I might find some vital information. I went deeper into the cave, feeling around on the wall until I felt a button and pressed it, opening a secret door. There was blue fire torches on the wall and an old map left on the table with some locations marked. They must be keeping Sally at one of these locations. On days 58 through 62, I decided I needed to become stronger before I could find the location where they were keeping Sally. First, I went to the diamond mine the Silver Lobo told me about and took the old elevator down. I quickly found some diamonds near the entrance and started mining. I then saw what looked like an old abandoned mining camp. A chest inside of it had a book with the unbreakable enchantment. I don't think whoever owned this camp would mind if I used the crafting table to make my gear. I made myself a diamond sword and a diamond chestplate to match. I used the nearby anvil to put the unbreakable enchantment on my chestplate. Now this is one of the most powerful pieces of armor around. After that, I returned to my base to continue work on my statue. It's really coming along nicely now. I even got to use all those rubies that Sally and I collected, but I could use some more materials. I went out into the forest to hunt, but in the process, I found something remarkable. A magical, enchanted halo. I decided to try it on and immediately felt its magic empower me. I got stronger and healthier, going up to 14 hearts. Whoa, talk about a functional headwear. As I continued hunting in the forest, I stumbled upon a spider nest. I saw the same gremlin from before, stuck in their webs calling for help. The spiders noticed me and charged towards me. This was the perfect opportunity to test out my new gear, but they were no match for my diamond sword. After I dealt with them, I cut the web holding the gremlin and he fell down. He thanked me for saving him again and ran off into the forest. Next time I take on Mr. Dark, he's in trouble. I went back to my base, feeling a lot more confident, and found that a huge bone serpent was waiting for me. But don't worry, he was friendly.
So, you're the skeleton dragon I've been hearing about. I heard something about this friend of yours. A skeleton horse? You want to find her? I recommend you look for an abandoned house on the plains.
Finally, a break in the case. You're a lifesaver, Bone Serpent, literally. Want to stay at my base?
Well, since you're offering, why not?
I built a new room with a pool where the Bone Serpent can stay. But by then, it was already nighttime. Mr. Dark would be on the prowl. I'd go find Sally first thing in the morning. On day 63 through 66, I was preparing to go on a rescue mission for Sally. But before I could leave, my mentor, the Necromancer, arrived to give me a gift.
Zozo, I wanted to give you a gift before you went on your quest. Mr. Dark is a mutant Enderman, and this dagger will do extra damage against Endermen. But be warned, it'll be incredibly weak against anything that isn't an Enderman.
Thank you, Master Necromancer. These will come in handy. I left my base, passed through the forest, and ventured out onto the plains. This was the exact direction that the bone serpent told me to go in. That's when I ran into a group of zombies and decided to test my dagger on them, and it did almost no damage. Wow, Master Necromancer was right. This dagger is useless against things that aren't Endermen. Instead, I pulled out my diamond sword and easily defeated the zombie horde before moving on with my quest. I got distracted again when I saw a villager, dressed like a craftsman standing next to a burning house. He looked like he needed help. Hey mister, I'm Zozo. Can I give you a hand?
Yes, please! My wife is trapped in that burning building, and I'm too old to rescue her myself. Please help me!
I ran into the burning building and found the craftsman's wife waiting inside. Thanks to my training from the necromancer, I was able to stay cool under pressure and lead the craftsman's wife safely back out. He was delighted to see her.
Thank you, Zozo. I owe you one for this, and I always repay my debts.
On days 67 through 70, I arrived at the abandoned house in the plains where I figured they must be holding Sally. This place looks so spooky, but I need to do the right thing, just like my mentor taught me. I carefully entered the house, trying not to be detected. I noticed that there was a broken end portal inside. That's weird, but I was quickly distracted by the sounds coming from upstairs. I drew my sword and ran upstairs, seeing Sally the skeleton horse locked in one of the rooms. Don't worry, Sally, I'm here to help.
Wait, Zozo, it's a trap.
3 Endermen suddenly appeared all around me. I tried to fight back, but I wasn't fast enough. They kept teleporting and attacking me back. Little by little, I was backed into the corner. It looked like I was a goner until I saw something on the floor. Is that a potion of fortitude? It was. I quickly grabbed it and drank it, and it made me tough enough to collect my thoughts, remembering the gift from my mentor. I pulled out the dagger and charged in. He was definitely right about its strength against Endermen, because soon enough, all 3 were defeated, although I barely survived that. I went to free Sally from the locked room. We celebrated for a moment in the room before I let her out and headed towards home. Let's go and rest, Sally. I've missed you. I shared some of my apples with Sally as we walked home, happy to finally be reunited. On days 71 to 74, with Sally's help, I invited more skeleton horses to my base and let them stay in my stable. Though I had to take time to expand the stable so everyone could fit inside. Let me know if it gets too cramped in there. After I'd finished my renovations, I decided to journey down into the diamond mine again and collect more, you guessed it, diamonds. When I returned to my base, I used those diamonds to complete my set of diamond armor and enchant it with the protection enchantment to help improve my chances in an intense fight. When the armor was done, I noticed that I received a letter. Oh, it's the craftsman whose wife I saved from that burning house. He says he wants to meet me in the tavern of a nearby village. That's so exciting! On day 75 to 78, I did as the letter said and traveled to the nearby village. I found the craftsman waiting for me in the village tavern, just like he promised.
Good to see you again, Zozo. After what you did, I've been thinking about a way to repay you. And while I'm not a rich man, as a craftsman, I can give you an idea of mine. If you're able to combine 2 netherite ingots, 2 void worm mandibles, and 1 void worm eye, you could create a dimensional carver, a special pickaxe that can teleport you between locations.
Wait, I have all of those materials. That's incredible. I can build one right now. Thank you, Mr. Craftsman. I made my way over to a nearby crafting bench and made myself a dimensional carver and gave it a practice swing. Boom! I was teleported to the village outskirts with a group of great beasts charging at me. Uh-oh, better get out of here. I swung the dimensional carver again and boom, I was back in my base. Wow, this tool is amazing, though I'll save it for emergencies in the future. On days 79 through 84, I started building a new storage shed for extra supplies in my base. You never know when you'll need the extra storage space. Then, I made a full set of armor for Sally, so she could be better protected when she's wandering through the forest.
This is great, Zozo. Thank you.
But then, I was running low on materials, especially stone and wood, so I decided to head out into the forest to cut down some trees and mine some more stone. While I was mining and lumberjacking, a passing mage noticed me and approached.
Excuse me, young skeleton dragon, but would you happen to be Zozo?
That depends. Do you work for Mr. Dark?
Well, I used to, and there's something I want to get off my chest. You have to understand, Mr. Dark is pure evil. If ever there was good in him, it's gone now. You cannot reason with him. You cannot talk to him. The only joy he takes is in making others unhappy. so when you're dealing with him, just be careful. He is not to be messed with.
And with that, the mage left. Guess that's my daily dose of nightmare fuel. On days 85 to 89, I returned to my base from the forest in the late evening, only to find out that the worst had happened. Mr. Dark was attacking my base with a whole gang of Soul Eaters.
Look, friends, Zozo is back. He's here to join our little playtime.
I want nothing to do with you or your deranged games. I just want you to stop bothering everybody.
Yes, we could do that. Or we could play catch. Soul Eater, throw!
One of the Soul Eaters pulled out a javelin and threw it at me. But then something strange happened. Rather than losing hearts, I started to get bigger and stronger. I'd become an evolved skeleton dragon, reaching my full size and going up 20 hearts. Whoa, I guess all that training is finally paying off. Wanna 1v1 me, Mr. Dark?
Why should I have all the fun? My friends want to play with you too. Play with him, Soul Eaters.
Mr. Dark vanished again, and the Soul Eaters ran towards me. With my new size and power, it didn't take me long to defeat them, which made me even more frustrated that I couldn't have taken on Mr. Dark there and then. Instead, I had to increase the size of my bedroom. A bigger skeleton dragon needs a bigger place to live. On days 90 to 94, I finally finished my statue. It's a giant cool skull statue, showing how we skeletons stuck together and stood against the evil of Mr. Dark and his minions. Did you guess what it was before I just told you? Let me know down in the comments. Once the statue was finally done, I decided I'd give some extra training to my best friend, Sally the Skeleton Horse. We trained together on the base grounds by play fighting until she upgraded and became bigger and stronger.
It feels so good to be powerful enough to fend for myself. Thanks, Zozo.
I never would have gotten this far without you, Sally. And after training, Sally took me to her brewing station she had set up to make a bunch of healing potions. You never know when these will come in handy. On day 95 to day 97, I met with the necromancer in the forest. He had some more valuable advice for me.
Zozo, I've heard of the location of a cabin in these woods, once owned by a person who was researching Mr. Dark. You might be able to find some valuable information there.
That definitely seemed like a good lead, so I started searching the woods until I found a rundown old cabin. On the inside, I found a dusty old book inside a chest. Oh, I wonder what secret knowledge is inside. But I didn't have time to read it just yet. Suddenly, the cabin was under attack by a gang of fire elementals who'd come to burn down the cabin. I was lucky to have my diamond armor, or I would have been burned up too. Okay, fire elementals, let's go. I took them on with my diamond sword and defeated them one by one, only getting a little burnt in the process. Great! Now I can finally read this book. The book was filled with frantic notes, including a part that read, Mr. Dark, that maniac. He calls it Playland, but it's nothing like that. There's only death there. It's the end. Nothing but the end. Of course, that explains the broken end portal too. Mr. Dark's Playland is actually the end. On day 98, I prepared the final enchantments for my weapons and armor and met with Sally one last time. She was nice enough to give me some more apples for the trip. I'm going to take on Mr. Dark. I discovered that he's hiding in the end, and without an end portal, I can use my dimensional carver to get there.
You're not going alone, Zozo. I'm coming with you.
But Sally…
But nothing. I saved your butt the first time you came here, and you think I'm gonna let you wander right into Mr. Dark's base? Alone? We started this together, and we're gonna finish it together too.
Well, when you put it like that, I can't exactly say no, can I? But I can say that if you want more exciting adventures like this, you should subscribe to Zozo and find more of our videos by searching ZO on YouTube. I'll really appreciate it. On day 99, Sally and I were ready to take the fight to Mr. Dark and free everyone that was still trapped in Playland.
Let's do this, Zozo. Let's make it so the people of this world never have to fear the night again.
That's what I'm talking about, Sally. Sally stood close to me, and I used the dimensional carver to teleport us all the way to the end so we could storm Playland together. But as soon as we arrived, we were immediately surrounded by a gang of Endermen. I immediately regret this decision.
Yeah, me too.
I pulled out my handy dagger, ready to fight off the Endermen, when I realized that they weren't here for me. They surrounded Sally, too fast for me to stop them, and grabbed her. They teleported away, taking Sally with them to who knows where. Sally, no! I knew why they'd done it. They were working for Mr. Dark, and Mr. Dark wanted me to face him alone. On day 100, I walked deeper into the end alone, looking for Mr. Dark. He didn't seem to be anywhere around here. That's when I noticed a cage containing a skeleton dragon just like me. I'd finally found him. Don't worry, fellow Draggy, I'll get you out of here. I heard an evil laugh behind me, and Mr. Dark appeared.
You've come to play with me at long last. I knew you would in the end, little one.
I'm not so little anymore. I pulled out my dagger and turned to attack Mr. Dark, but he teleported out of the way and hit me again. He was even stronger than I remembered. Thankfully, I had a spare potion of healing to take to offset the damage.
Play along, Zozo. It's no fun if you don't play.
I tried to attack him again, but it was like fighting smoke. Every time I went for him, he teleported out of the way and attacked me back. It felt like all of my training was for nothing against him. You don't play fair, Mr. Dark.
That's because it's no fun to play like that. And I'm sorry, Zozo, but you're starting to feel awfully boring to me.
I looked behind me and saw that a giant chasm had opened up in the ground behind me. It was so dark down there, I didn't even know if there was a bottom.
You'll find more friends down there, Zozo. You'll never want to leave.
While Mr. Dark was focused on me, I saw a figure charging up behind him. It was Sally, the skeleton horse. And still, Mr. Dark hadn't even noticed her.
Any last words before you go into the dark, Zozo?
Yeah, playtime's over.
What?
Sally the skeleton horse charged into Mr. Dark and knocked him into the bottomless pit. He screamed and fell, never to be seen again.
Can't say I'm gonna miss that creep. Let's save the prisoners and get out of here, Zozo.
You know, that sounds good to me. On day 1, I spawned into the Badlands as a shapeshifter. Whoa, that's a cool special ability. I wonder how far I can go with it. But I didn't have long to think about that, because a gang of wither skeletons with bows and swords showed up and started chasing me. Darn it, I wish I could go faster, but I'm only a baby shapeshifter, and that means I've only got 3 hearts. But even though I was weak, that didn't mean I couldn't shapeshift. I hid behind a rock and turned into a rabbit. Nobody ever suspects a rabbit. The wither skeletons kept searching until they found my little rabbit self, acting casually. The leader of the wither skeletons immediately clocked me.
There he is, boys. Grab him.
The wither skeletons immediately surrounded me, giving me no chance to escape. Wait, how did you know it was me?
There are no rabbits in the Badlands. You've still got a lot to learn, shapeshifter. Let's take him to the jail.
On day 2, the wither skeletons dragged me over to the Badlands jail. You can't do this! I'm too young to go to jail! But that didn't seem to persuade them. They threw me in a cell with another prisoner, a Quillbeast. I had to figure out what was going on. Hey, Mr. Quillbeast, I'm Zozo. What's your name, and what are you in for?
The name's Quilliam. I don't know why I'm here. I was just wandering the Badlands when suddenly the wither skeletons arrested me and dragged me here.
Don't worry, Quilliam. I have an idea for how we can both escape.
No offense, Zozo, but I really don't know how a rabbit could launch a jailbreak.
That's the thing. I'm not a rabbit. I'm a shapeshifter. I used my power to turn into a wither skeleton, just like the ones who ran the Badlands prison. We used one of Quilliam's quills to pick the lock, and the 2 of us walked down the hall together. Another wither skeleton stopped us on the way.
Hey, where are you 2 going?
I'm just taking this prisoner to a different cell block. Nothing to see here.
Fine, I suppose. On your way.
In my wither skeleton disguise, Quilliam and I slipped out of the Badlands prison without a second thought.
That was amazing, Zozo. You saved both of us in there.
These shapeshifting skills really come in handy. I can't wait to get better at them. On day 3, I decided to continue my escape and make my way into the jungle. It'd be way harder for the bad guys to find me amongst all these dense trees. But if I really want to fit in here, I can't just be a wither skeleton. I need a real jungle disguise. That's why I shapeshifted into an orangutan. Orangutan is Malay for person of the forest, so it makes for a perfect jungle disguise. All this shapeshifting was hungry work, so I explored the forest and gathered up some tasty melons to eat. Delicious and nutritious. But while foraging, I encountered a mysterious wooden villager meditating in a clearing. Sorry to interrupt you, wooden villager, but is everything okay?
Everything is more than okay, now that you're here, Zozo.
What? How did you know my name?
I know many things. I am Amma, the jungle mystic. I have long traveled this jungle in search of a hero to whom I can reveal the great truth of the world. Do you believe you are that hero?
Well, I'd like to be, for sure.
Good. Then follow me. There is much to learn.
On days 4 to 5, Amma, the jungle mystic, led me deeper into the forest, where he started to explain what was going on here. So, does the problem here have to do something with the wither skeletons?
No, the wither skeletons are irrelevant to the true issue here, Zozo. You see, this forest is overrun with vicious tribal gremlins. Alone, they may not look like much, but together, they can pose a major threat. For the sake of the world's peace and safety, we must see to it that they are defeated. We have less than 100 days to exterminate them before things really get out of hand.
Wow, that sounds like a tall order. These tribal gremlins must be really scary. How should I fight them?
Don't worry about fighting them just yet. I'll be able to help you plan the best course of action. For now, take these tools and start building yourself a base.
Amma the jungle mystic gave me a set of stone tools, and I left him to go find a clearing in the jungle where I could start building my base. I immediately started cutting down trees for wood and mining for stone. My base was already coming along nicely when suddenly a wither skeleton scouting party appeared out of the woods.
He's gotta be around here somewhere. Come on, boys, let's find this slippery little crate.
I needed to think fast. Obviously, a rabbit was no good, and they'd probably be expecting another wither skeleton. What could I turn into that would save me? Oh wait, I've got it! I shapeshifted into a wither boss and floated over to the wither skeletons. What are you boys doing out here slacking off? This is unacceptable!
But boss, somebody escaped the prison. We need to go track them down.
Forget about one lousy prisoner. Go back and stand guard to make sure more don't get out. And that's an order.
Yes, Wither Boss, sir.
The wither skeletons turned tail and marched out of the forest. I breathed a sigh of relief, and my shapeshifting skills paid off because I earned enough XP to level up. Whoa, I have 6 hearts now, and I can shift for longer. This is awesome. On day 6 to day 8, I took the form of a baboon so I could finish building the house, and it looked amazing. I decided to explore for a bit. As I was walking through the jungle, I noticed something a little strange. Wait, where are all the animals? Is this something to do with the tribal gremlins that Amma the jungle mystic was telling me about? As I was gathering some coal, a stray ran past me. Whoa there, everything okay, Stray?
There's no time to talk. I need to keep running. Get out of my way!
You're safe here. Explain yourself.
My town was destroyed by the Red Nightmare and his forces. He's taking over everything. If you had any brains in that baboon head of yours, you'd run while you still can.
And then he ran off, leaving me confused. Red Nightmare? I'd never heard of that. So I decided to find Amma the jungle mystic again and ask him what he knew.
Ah, yes, the Red Nightmare. He's another terrible force associated with those tribal gremlins I told you about. Perhaps it's time to arm yourself against the coming struggles. If you make your way to the snowy tundras and find the Frost Weaver, you'll be able to obtain a mace by defeating it. Go now! The tribal gremlin threat advances ever closer.
On days 9 to 10, I shifted into a snow leopard so I could both move faster and stand the cold. Then I made my way out to the snowy tundra to begin my search. I'm gonna find you, Frost Weaver! But what I didn't expect was that the Frost Weaver would find me first. It was huge and ferocious, and it attacked me as soon as it saw me. He spit poison webs at me, which really slowed me down. I figure I can't ask you nicely to hand over the mace then? The Frost Weaver didn't feel like chatting with me. Instead, it relentlessly attacked, knocking off a couple of my hearts. There was no way I could defeat a monster this powerful, but to my luck, I suddenly saw a snow golem running towards me. Golems have a natural protection instinct, so I was really in luck here.
Don't worry, kid. I'll give you a hand.
The snow golem joined me in the fight, and we were able to turn the tide. Soon, the Frost Weaver was defeated, and I had picked up the special mace he dropped. Thanks for helping me there, snow golem. I really owe you one.
Think nothing of it. Why don't you come back to my cave with me? My family and I could make you some dinner.
So we traveled back to the ice cave where the snow golem and his family, some baby snow golems, lived. He gave me some mushroom stew that helped replenish my missing hearts.
I suppose you're out here fleeing from the Red Nightmare. That's why most people come to brave these frosty wastes.
The Red Nightmare? As in the tribal gremlins?
Tribal gremlins? I've never heard of any such thing. How strange.
Well, I better go ask Amma about it. Thanks for the stew. On days 11 to 12, I assumed the form of a formidable Komodo dragon and returned to my base. Amma, the jungle mystic, was waiting for me. Amma, something isn't right. I got the mace, but while I was out in the snowy tundra, I met a snow golem who knew about the red nightmare, but not the tribal gremlins. How could that be?
I wouldn't worry about it, Zozo. Instead, go to this cave I've marked out on your map. You can mine some iron ore there, and perhaps use it to upgrade your armor or gear. It will be vital in the coming struggles. Once you have your iron, you can begin the attack on the tribal gremlin camp to the left of here.
Okay, if you say so, Amma. Still, it's a little weird, to say the least. I went to the cave that Amma marked out for me. I made my way in and started mining the iron ore. There was a decent amount of it down there, but not enough to do what I really needed. I did grab the extra coal that was there, though. Then, when I left the cave, I was ambushed by a lurker, one of the nastiest little creatures in the jungle. Thank goodness I have my mace with me. With one swing of my mace, I'd smushed that nasty creature and was off on my way to the tribal gremlin camp. From day 13 to day 15, I came across a path. This must be the way to the village. I took the form of a gremlin so nobody would really notice me, and I followed the path. I arrived at the tribal gremlin camp. It was basically a huge village made of tree houses in the jungle. I was expecting it to be scary, but honestly, all the tribal gremlins seemed weirdly peaceful. I decided to talk to one of them to see what was going on. Hey, fellow gremlin, you looking forward to causing some more chaos in the forest today? He just looked confused.
Chaos? What are you talking about?
I turned and saw a very chubby, stern-looking tribal gremlin chief sitting behind me.
There will be no chaos around here, boy. We need to stay organized if we want to have any hope of defeating the Red Nightmare.
The tribal gremlins wanted to fight the Red Nightmare too? I thought they were in league with them. Nothing was making sense. I needed to go back to my base and talk to Amma the Jungle Mystic immediately. From day 16 to day 19, I returned to my base. I took the long way back through the jungle, trying to figure out some kind of reasonable explanation for what had happened. Could Amma have been lying to me this whole time? But why? When I arrived back at my base, there was a tribal gremlin waiting for me. He looked like he was in a panic.
Stranger, we need your help. Something terrible has been attacking our village.
Something terrible? I'll come right away. But by the time I arrived at the village, it looked like the worst had already happened. The village was in ruins. The tribal gremlin chief was dead. Only his mask remained. And standing in the middle of it all was Amma. Amma, how could you? The tribal gremlins are friendly and peaceful.
To you, perhaps, but to my plans, they were a frustrating inconvenience.
What do you mean, your plans?
I never told you my full name, did I? I'm a shapeshifter like you see. Some call me Amma, but my true name is Amogolish, perhaps better known as...
Suddenly, Amma shapeshifted into a huge, blood-red creature, the true Amogolish. Wait, you're the Red Nightmare?
Very clever, Zozo. I thought I could trick you into destroying the tribal gremlins for me, but it seems you're completely useless. So you can be destroyed with them!
I was so angry that I turned into a huge vile ogre and charged at Amogolish, the Red Nightmare! He would never use me to do evil! But I underestimated how strong he was. With one strike, he knocked me down from the bridge and everything faded to black. From day 20 to day 22, I woke at the bottom of what remained of the destroyed tribal gremlin village. I'd failed. I'd let them all down. But thankfully, at least some of them had survived Amogolish's monstrous attack.
But now we have no place to live. We can't just survive out here in the jungle. He'll pick us off one by one.
That's when I turned into a horse. Nobody is living out in the jungle. Hop on my back, and I'll let you come live at my base. We can work together and stop Amogolish from destroying anywhere else. One by one, I took all the remaining tribal gremlins back to my base and started building a barracks for them. If Amogolish thinks he can destroy us all, we're not gonna go down without a fight. From day 23 to day 26, I traveled out to the desert. That jungle humidity can be killer sometimes. I decided to turn myself into a roadrunner so I could run extra fast across the sand. Meep meep. It feels good to feel the wind blow between my feathers. But I had to stop when I saw a sun god being attacked by a gang of enhanced Arapedes. They must have been sent by Amogolish. Don't worry, sun god, I'm here to help. I ran in and started circling around the Arapedes, distracting them from attacking the sun god. That gave the sun god a chance.
I unleash the power of the sun!
He sent out a powerful sunblast, hitting and vaporizing the Arapedes, and he never could have done it without me.
I never could have done it without you, Zozo. In exchange, I give you the blessing of the sun. From now on, you will be stronger and faster in daylight. You will also gain a few hearts.
That's such a cool power. Thank you, Sun God. And the 2 extra hearts will come in handy.
May my blessings be with you.
From day 27 to day 31, I went back to the jungle. I missed all those lush green trees. On the way back to the base, I found some sheep wandering around the jungle. They seemed lost, so I decided to take a stone guard form and shepherd them back to my base. When they were back, I started to build a pen for them. Now I can have as much wool as I want. This is perfect. I also decided to make a bigger wall around my base to protect me, the sheep, and my tribal gremlin guest from Amogalish and his minions. Meanwhile, in Amogalish's evil lair, he was meeting with his deadliest warrior, the Behemoth, a huge demon knight.
What would you have me do, Master?
I thought this Zozo could be useful, but it seems he's just a thorn in our sides. If we are to dominate this world, he and those who ally with him must be destroyed. Make it so.
Yes, my master. I will destroy him personally.
From day 32 to day 35, I decided I'd wander the plains in search of new allies and weapons. I needed to figure out how to defeat Amogalish. Because I didn't want to get attacked by any monsters on my journey, I decided to shift into a mutant skeleton. Nobody would mess with that.
Stop right there, monster.
I turned and saw a gang of armed villagers ready to fight. They started firing arrows, and I was forced to dodge as fast as I could. Wait, stop! I'm not a monster, I'm Zozo. I'm just a shapeshifter. That got the villagers to calm down. They lowered their weapons and began to murmur amongst themselves before turning back to me.
Come with us, Zozo. We want to take you to our leader, the great King Midas, the ruler of gold.
They led me back to their village, where Midas was waiting for me in a golden throne in the middle of the village. He was certainly an impressive sight.
Ah, so my men brought you to me. There must be a reason. Why are you here, my boy?
I'm trying to find a way to slay Amogalish and get revenge for the tribal gremlins.
Correct answer. Amogalish, the Red Nightmare, has troubled our kingdom for generations. Me and my ancestors have tried to gather information about him for years, and I believe soon we will have the answers. When that time comes, come back to me.
From day 36 to day 39, I turned myself into a scarecrow just for fun and entered the mine in the village. I mined iron to complete my new set of tools and armor. And I got really lucky, because it wasn't just iron ore I found, I also found some diamonds. Not enough to craft just yet, but they were definitely worth keeping in my inventory for a rainy day. Though the most exciting thing I found down in that mine shaft was a dusty old book containing an unbreakable enchantment, which would make my new items unbreakable. I crafted a full set of iron tools, iron weapons, and iron armor before returning back to my base to rest. But sadly, there would be no rest. When I got back to my base, an Aztec warrior was already there, waiting for me.
King Midas sent me to collect you. He wishes to speak to you about a truly grave matter.
Then I suppose I better come along. From day 40 to day 43, I returned to the village to meet with King Midas. I wondered what had gotten him so worried, aside from the fact that I'd now shapeshifted into a gorilla for toughness.
Zozo, I'm glad you're safe.
Of course, Your Highness. Why wouldn't I be safe?
My spies have gotten word of a terrible development in the war against Amogalish. He has summoned his most dangerous minion, the Great Behemoth, and he has given him the instruction to destroy you personally.
Don't worry, King Midas. I've gotten a lot tougher than I used to be. I bet I could kick this behemoth guy's booty.
Why don't you say that to my face, weakling?
I turned and saw the behemoth was standing right behind me while the villagers fled in every direction. He was even bigger and tougher than I'd imagined. I charged up towards him and used all my gorilla strength to deliver a mighty punch. But the behemoth just shrugged it off. He hit me back and sent me skidding across the village square.
Take this new form, my boy, the Gold Golem, and use it in my name.
With my new gold golem strength, I pulled out my mace and attacked the behemoth. Somehow, he effortlessly blocked every hit and started rampaging around the village. I need to get out of here. I'm still not strong enough to beat even the henchmen yet. So, I fled the village while the villagers tried desperately to stop Behemoth. From day 44 to day 49, I returned to my base, feeling so ashamed of myself for running away that I turned myself into a blobfish. I don't deserve to call myself a hero. I left all those poor villagers to fend for themselves. I'm a zero. As I was moping, none other than King Midas turned up, having survived the previous battle.
Zozo, I need to call on you yet again.
I don't deserve you, King Midas. I was a coward. I ran away.
Don't focus on the past, Zozo. We're not going there. I'm here because I have some important knowledge. There are legends of a sacred item, a mithril battle axe, that can be used to defeat the Red Nightmare.
A mithril battle axe? But I already have a sword and a mace, and neither of them help.
The mithril battle axe is more than just a weapon, Zozo. It's supernatural. It can give its users immense power, even granting them wishes. But it is legendarily hard to obtain. You will either need to find one or make one from mithril ore. The mountains would be the best place to begin your search.
From day 50 to day 53, I decided to take the form of a mountain troll and go searching through the mountains for information on the mithril hammer. Maybe if I find it, I can regain my honor after running away from Behemoth. The way up the mountain was tough. At the top, I searched and searched until I found a secret cave tucked away under one of the mountains. It seemed like the kind of place where something important might be hiding away. I put up some torches to light my way inside of the cave, but sadly I didn't find any mithril or a mithril battle axe in there. But I did find a book, labeled The Legend of Amalgalish. Hey, that's the guy I'm fighting. The book described how Amalgalish is an ancient evil who has tried to take over the world many times. But only someone who is of pure heart with a perfect weapon will be able to put him down for good and save everyone. Maybe I do have a shot after all. With at least some extra knowledge, I started heading back to my base. The way down was just as treacherous as the way up, but I eventually made it. When I reached the jungle again, I heard some commotion and I saw a Clink fighting a whole gang of scary jungle spiders. Don't worry, Clink, I'll help you. But by the time I reached him, he'd already defeated all the jungle spiders without breaking a sweat. He was clearly a lot stronger than I was. That was amazing, Mr. Clink. Want to come back to my base? I need someone to help train me how to fight like you.
Sorry, buddy, but I'm not the teaching type. Old Clink is too free-spirited to ever be tied down like that. Good luck with whatever you're doing, though.
From day 54 to day 57, having been rejected by Clink, I continued back to my base. Well, at least this day can't get any worse.
You have a big storm coming, Zozo.
I turned and saw that literally the last person I wanted to see right now was standing right behind me. Behemoth, Amalgalish's #1 goon. Oh no, not you again.
I believe we have some unfinished business. Square up and prepare to meet your doom.
I shifted into my gold golem form and pulled out my mace. This time, I was going to win. I charged straight at him with impressive speed, and with all my might, I swung the mace right into his face. And it had no effect. I still wasn't anywhere near strong enough to fight Behemoth, and all I could do was run away while he laughed at me. Meanwhile, back at Amalgalish's evil lair, he was receiving information from his top advisor, the impish Pixin.
Tell me, Pixin, how goes the war effort? Are our forces winning?
We've crushed resistance to the east. Our Wither Skeleton army has been successful in raiding the villages to the west. Soon, I'm sure, the north and south will fall too.
And what of Zozo? Has Behemoth destroyed that little brat yet?
Soon, my lord. Behemoth says that our mission will be even easier than he thought.
Delightful. Just delightful.
On day 58 to day 62, I returned to my base, feeling a little down in the dirt. So I turned myself into a swamp pig. I'm so ashamed of myself. It feels like I can't do anything right. But when I got back, I was so happy to see that the tribal gremlins had increased the size of my base. They built new rooms and a whole new floor.
It's the least we could do since you let us stay here with you, Zozo.
I was so touched by their kindness that I wanted to do something for them in return. I'd build a statue, but not just any statue, a tribute to the fallen tribal gremlin chief. I started collecting all the proper material when I happened upon an abandoned diamond mine out in the jungle. I wonder if there are still diamonds down there. I went in and started to mine until I finally found enough diamonds to craft a pair of diamond armor pieces, a pickaxe, helmet, pants, and some cool boots. It isn't much, but it'll certainly help. From day 63 to day 66, one of the tribal gremlins approached me.
Zozo, I think I know where you might be able to find a mithril battle axe like the one you were looking for. There's a special cave out in the desert, one that's sacred to my people. We might be able to find it together.
That sounds like an excellent idea, tribal gremlin. Let's do it. We set off together until we reached the desert. With my shape-shifting powers growing by the day, I decided to shift into a guster so I could fit into the desert environment. After 2 days of walking, we finally found the cave. It looked deep and dark, and as I stepped forward to enter, the tribal gremlin stopped me.
Wait, Zozo, I just remembered something important. You can't go in the cave. Not yet.
Well, why not? We really need that mithril battle axe, tribal gremlin.
But you need to obtain a soul heart first. I've heard legends that those who enter the cave without one lose their souls, so we need to seek one out.
Yeah, now that you mention it, that does seem like a pretty solid call. From day 67 to day 70, the tribal gremlin went home, and I continued exploring the desert, hoping to find a soul heart. It's a shame they don't just hand out those things, huh? Suddenly, I was distracted from my search as a coyote running towards me. He looked really worried.
Hey, stranger, mind lending me a hand? There's a nasty Sudaramu bothering me and my coyote brothers.
Sure thing. Maybe I can help defuse the situation. I ran after the coyote until I found a group of coyotes being attacked by a huge Sudaramu who was clawing at them. He looked like he was in a really bad mood. Sudaramu, stop bothering these coyotes.
Mind your own business, fool. This is between me and the coyotes.
The second you start bothering people, it is my business. Time to fight. I ran to the Sudaramu and began to fight. He was tough, but he didn't seem like he really wanted to destroy me. He just liked fighting people. So I gave him a good fight. Every time he swung his claws at me, I was able to dodge, then hit back. My hits barely bothered him, but he seemed like he enjoyed having the exercise.
Yeah, that was a good fight. I like your style, man.
You're a pretty good fighter yourself, Sudaramu. How about instead of fighting random coyotes, you go up against a real opponent, like helping me take on that demon, a Mogolish.
Now that sounds like a good time.
From day 71 to day 74, after not finding anything in the desert other than a cave I couldn't enter, I returned to the base, only to find that Behemoth was already there, and he was annihilating my base. By the time I got back, half of the base had been destroyed, and he was attacking the tribal gremlins trying to rest there.
Zozo, you're back. Good. I was getting bored destroying all your friends.
Behemoth, you monster! You're going down for this!
Try me.
I transformed into a Vex, pulled out my mace again, and attacked Behemoth. My rage fueled me, and this time, as I attacked him, it looked like I was actually doing some damage.
You've improved, Zozo, I'll give you that. But you're still nothing compared to me.
Behemoth hit me back, stunning me and taking down several of my hearts. And while I was stunned, he grabbed one of the tribal gremlins and ran off with him. Gremlin, no! But there was nothing I could do. After I got my strength back, I teamed up with the other gremlins to rebuild the destroyed sections of my base and create a new guard tower to watch out for any future intruders. At a Mogolish's lair, he was laughing with glee as his army of monsters and skeletons prepared themselves for the next battle.
It is almost time. Soon I will wipe out the resistance, and all will be mine.
From day 75 to day 78, King Midas once again arrived at my base, carrying a gift.
Zozo, I have heard about your recent losses and your valiant attempts to get your hands on the mithril battle axe. In the meantime, please, as a token of my gratitude for all the work you've done, take this.
Oh, wow, King Midas, thank you! What is this?
It's a sword of undying, my old battle weapon from my adventuring days. It's not the mithril battle axe, but this is a powerful, well-forged weapon. I believe Behemoth keeps his own private lair out in the plains. Perhaps you should go show him how well you can use this new weapon.
From day 79 to day 84, I arrived at Behemoth's lair out on the plains with my sword of undying, ready to do battle. I stormed in, ran past the skeleton soldiers, and saw that Behemoth was waiting for me.
This is it, Zozo! I've gotten bored of playing with my food. You won't be leaving this lair. And when I've destroyed you, the master will give me power and riches.
Your creep of a master is never going to see you again, Behemoth.
Skeletons, grab this fool.
Skeletons surrounded me, but I managed to take them down without much effort. I focused on Behemoth next. Sword in hand, we fought. Behemoth was still incredibly strong, but I felt like I was finally ready to take him on. But as the fight went on, even though I was doing some good damage, Behemoth started to turn the tide. He fought harder and harder, hitting me again and again, watching my hearts drop. Even with the regeneration and extra absorption health the Sword of Undying gave me, I was still losing this fight. Everything I'd worked for was about to be for nothing.
You've been amusing, Zozo, but I won't miss you when you're gone.
Just as Behemoth was about to finish me off, one of the walls of his lair exploded, and Sudaramu broke in to save the day.
Zozo, eat this!
He threw me a golden apple. I'd never seen one like it before, and I immediately took a bite. Immediately, everything changed. I could feel myself getting bigger and stronger, and not just regenerating hearts, but doubling them. With the 16 hearts, I shifted into Ultimate Gold Golem, and with the Sudaramu at my side, I was ready to finish this. The two of us attacked the Behemoth together, giving him no chance to take us out. I climbed to the top of the gate wall and jumped on the Behemoth, swinging my sword at his head. He was defeated once and for all! I looked and saw that the destroyed Behemoth had dropped a soul heart onto the ground.
Now that was a good fight. Say, what's that thing he dropped?
Sudaramu, that's our ticket to the big time! From day 85 to day 89, while still out in the plains, I shapeshifted into a double-headed Vile Ogre. I stumbled upon some clay and dug it up to use on the tribal gremlin chief statue. This is gonna look awesome, and I bet my tribal gremlin roommates will really appreciate it too. I returned to the base and completed the statue. Seeing it there inspired me and reminded me of what really mattered, all the innocent people I was fighting for. With the statue done, I set off for the desert with the Behemoth Soul Heart in my inventory. I could finally enter the sacred cave and obtain the Mithril Battle Axe. It would be a great day! But when I entered, things weren't so easy. There were husks everywhere, and just as I was about to clear them all, a terrifying Jabberwock jumped out of the cave and started attacking me. I needed to pull out King Midas's sword to fight him off, and even then, it wasn't easy. Feels like nothing has been easy for me these last few months. But with the Jabberwock Cave Guardian defeated, I saw it there, waiting for me. The Mithril Battle Axe that would solve all of our problems. I picked it up and felt its power surging through my hands. Ignites and knocks back targets. Well, that is useful. Things are looking up at last. From day 90 to day 94, I emerged from the cave with the Mithril Battle Axe, wondering what I'd use it for first, when I saw that a Mogolish was standing right in front of me.
Hello again, Zozo. Think I'd let you get away with destroying my most powerful henchman? For that, I'm going to destroy you myself.
I didn't feel like talking to this monster. Instead, with the Mithril Battle Axe in hand, I charged at him, ready to strike. I got one hit in. He instantly hit me back and sent me flying. The hit was so hard, it knocked the battle axe right out of my hands. Before I could get up, he snatched the Mithril Battle Axe, even though I'd only just gotten it.
You won't be needing this anymore. In fact, I think I'll make much better use of it than you ever did. Goodbye, Zozo.
There was an explosion, and the desert ground beneath me caved in, trapping me in a pit. A Mogolish disappeared, off to do something awful, no doubt. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. From day 95 to day 97, I needed to do something clever to escape the pit. Thankfully, this was where my shapeshifting skills came in handy again. I turned into a bald eagle and flew right out of there, heading towards King Midas's village. With the Mithril Battle Axe lost, I needed to ask him for advice on what I should do next. But it was already too late. When I arrived at the village, I saw it had been completely ransacked. All the buildings were destroyed. I couldn't see any villagers. All that was left was King Midas, near death, next to his broken throne. I flew down and turned into a golden villager, approaching King Midas to see if there was anything I could do to help.
I'm sorry, it's already too late for me. Amalgalish used the Mithril Battle Axe to improve his power to unimaginable levels. He destroyed the entire village. You must stop him. You're our only hope.
I will stop him, King Midas. I promise. He'll pay for everything he's done. King Midas passed, and I journeyed back to my base. On day 98, I arrived back at the base and found that my worst fears had been made real. Amalgalish had come here too and destroyed everything. The base was in tatters, and most of the tribal gremlins were gone. I'd failed. I couldn't protect anybody or anyone. It seemed like Amalgalish was going to use the Mithril Battle Axe to rule the world. I felt so terrible about myself, I shapeshifted into a cockroach. Just as I was about to give up hope, one of the last tribal gremlins approached me. I'm so sorry that I failed, tribal gremlin. I let your people down from beginning to end.
But this isn't the end, Zozo. You can't give up. If Amalgalish could use the magical axe to destroy all this, then maybe, if you get your hands on the axe, you can make it all okay again.
And in that moment, I knew that the tribal gremlin was right. If that axe could get us into this, it might be the only thing that could get us out. On day 99, I shapeshifted into King Midas himself as a tribute to the great king's legacy. As him, I approached Amalgalish's base, wielding his Sword of Undying. To my surprise, Amalgalish himself came out to meet me, holding the Mithril Battle Axe, exactly as I'd hoped.
King Midas, this is impossible. I dealt you a lethal blow with the Mithril Battle Axe. You must be
Zozo, and I'll be taking that axe.
Yes, to the face.
This time, Amalgalish lunged at me first, upset at being tricked. But that's when I took my opportunity. As he swung the Mithril Battle Axe, I dodged and snatched it from his hands. Thanks, Amalgalish. I promise I'll bring it back. With the battle axe in hand, I ran back to my base as fast as I could, hoping that it still had some magic left over after all the damage that Amalgalish had done with it. I arrived back at my base and began to wish, holding the axe tightly in my hands. I wish for all the tribal gremlins to be brought back and for my base to be fully repaired. That's all I ask for. And seconds later, the axe vanished from my hands, never to be seen again. But my wish was granted. My base was back to normal, and all the tribal gremlins had been brought back.
You saved us, Zozo. Thank you.
And now, together, we can save everyone else. Like Amalgalish himself said, just one tribal gremlin doesn't count for much. But all of you together, we can bring Amalgalish down for good. Let's go save the world. On day 100, I led the tribal gremlin strike force straight into Amalgalish's lair. As wither skeletons poured out to fight us, the gremlins took them on.
Gremlin freedom forever!
And as the fight raged on, of course, Amalgalish crawled out of his lair, ready to fight me personally.
You worthless little creature. I should have destroyed you when you were small and weak. It would have saved me a lot of trouble.
It's too late for regrets now, Amalgalish. They won't do you any good.
Stubborn and arrogant to the end. Do you really think you can beat me? You're not even carrying a weapon.
I'm a shapeshifter, Amalgalish. Don't you know what that means?
What?
It means I am the weapon. And with that, I turned into my final form, a giant ender dragon.
No, this can't be. It isn't fair. I can't be defeated by some other lowly shapeshifter. I'm the most powerful being in the world.
But all that complaining didn't do him any good. I unleashed my most powerful Dragon's Breath attack on him, and by the time I was done, there was nothing left. Amalgalish was defeated! And once the tribal gremlins were done defeating the last of the wither skeletons, the world could finally be at peace once again.